Okay, okay, okay. All right. Okay. I think we did it. I think we're here. Whew. I know none of you are going to give a shit, but I actually had some really weird technical issues right before the stream started. My internet's been kind of fritzy lately. I have no idea why. It's not like I don't pay for good service, but I couldn't connect to a server like 10 minutes before stream. Like my internet was working. I could load YouTube videos and download stuff and all that crap. But when I actually tried to connect the Streamlabs OBS to the server, it didn't work. I've never actually seen that problem before, which was which was really strange. So I restarted the modem, and it seems to have worked. Um, that was my wacky, that's my wacky response. How's everyone doing? We actually have a very special stream today because we'll be synthesizing a number of elements from all over the place. I feel like we're really pulling in the YouTube drama today, and I'm excited. I am deeply excited. First of all, I would love to. I know for a fact that some of the people watching right now are Isaac Butterfield fans. What's up? I love you. I hope you know that. We have so much to talk about. So, first of all, we have to talk about. I know we keep coming back to it. Nazis. And then, after a special guest appearance, we'll be talking about Isaac Butterfield. You see, Isaac Butterfield is a reactionary Australian YouTuber. I don't know which of those three descriptors is the most morally heinous. And I did a video on him a little while ago. It wasn't even a video. I did a stream on him a little while ago, by which I mean during the stream I dedicated 30 minutes to talking about him. And I didn't release it because it felt like it was punching down. Because Isaac Butterfield isn't like smart, and I felt bad. But then, and it's been a month, and then completely impromptu, he made a video on me. I think it was Crazy Angry Soy Boy Hates Me. I think it's either Crazy Angry Soy Boy Hates Me or Angry Crazy Soy Boy Hates Me. I forget the exact organization of the adjectives, but yeah. So there's that, and we have to talk about that. Of course, we have to talk about that. I mean, love me some attention from some big YouTubers. It actually feels a little bit like the good old days. Remember Hunter Avalon? Remember when I was just a little channel and I was like, screaming in a squeaky voice outside Avalon's house, like, like your videos are dumb. And eventually a video got made on me. This time I didn't have to put that much effort in, I didn't even make a fucking video on it. I just, whew. How's everyone doing? How's everyone doing? We, so much has happened. Holy shit, so much has happened. There's so much that I want to get to. Fuck. I was going to do a stream yesterday. I wanted to go over the Trump rally. Did you guys see the Trump rally? Please tell me some of you saw the Trump rally. It was, and I'm not lying, this isn't hyperbole. I know I speak in hyperbole very frequently. One of the funniest things I have ever seen. 15 minutes of Trump's stand-up routine talking about how he knows how to use stairs and how he knows how to drink water. Then he talked about how he committed a crime against humanity, no joke, by slowing down testing deliberately because running testing at regular rates would have made his administration look bad, letting people die because the alternative was bad optics for his presidency. And then he doubled down on his belief that you should arrest people who burn the flag. It was really good. I mean, it really did feel like a death of the republic moment. And this is the funny thing. The last politics stream that we did peaked at 6,200 viewers. Fantastic. The exact number of people who showed up to his rally. So when Trump was standing out there, now of course millions of people were watching the live stream, but if we're just looking at the people in the stadium, Trump out there was speaking directly to a number of people equal to the number of people who were watching me. That is wacky. And it gives some perspective too. Can you imagine if every live stream I did was in person? Like I would just be, I'm on a podium with a little laptop being projected up into a big screen behind me, and there are thousands of people in the seats and shit like that, and I'm just like, haha, Brit bongers, and you all laugh. Hearing in real life laughing would be very funny. It would basically just be a stand-up routine. Yeah, that's Vosh 2024, okay? That's next step, all right? That's when I actually run for office. I'm joking, I'll never run for office. I am unelectable in every conceivable way. And by the way, I do want to point out the fact how unfair it is that there are conservative politicians who run for office despite being known pedophiles, sex offenders, rapists, white supremacists, and they get to run. But me, with my smattering of internet drama, that makes me unelectable. Okay, dude. Okay, dude. All right. I see. Now that's a double standard if I ever saw one, folks. Now that's a double standard. Yeah, what's the big idea? That's what I'm saying. All right, folks. Very true, Bastian. Oh, and Kings and Generals. I saw you in YouTube chat. Howdy. You should join the site sometime. I know you're a busy guy. Now, what's the difference between a pedophile and a Republican? I was about to say the number of letters, but wait, are they the same? 1, 2, 3, 4, 9. Republican is one more letter. Wait. Yes. There we go. One more letter. Got him. All right, folks. It's time to get started. Eventually, the fun and games has to end. And now we laboriously move ourselves over to the next segment, which is games and fun. Kind of. So to those of you who don't pay attention, there was very recently an opportunity for Destiny and I to debate. Not each other, but together against another pair of debaters. And we were approached by Modern Day Debates, who, if you watch this channel for any length of time, you know who he is. And apparently this is what happened. Okay, get caught up, all right? Stay informed. Mike Enoch and Eric Stryker, the two hosts, if I remember correctly, I don't care that much about these people, of the Daily Shoah, Shoah being the Hebrew word for Holocaust, neo-Nazi podcast, wanted to debate two people on race and crime. That was their they wanted, you know, they were interested. And they went over to Modern Day Debates and they said, "Hey, find us two people. You know, find us two people to debate." And Modern Day Debates wisely thought, these guys are pretty bad. Let's get the crack team on him. Vosh, Destiny, debate. So he reached out to us, and we accepted. You know, why not? Because as it turns out, the subject was, are black people discriminated against in the criminal justice system? To which the obvious answer, agreed upon by every academic, is yes. It's inarguable. Does systemic racism exist? Yes. Everyone knows this. This is only debated in fucking political circles, okay? By dipshits who don't know how to read, you know, stats. It's not. Nobody disagrees with this in academia. It's consent. Even relatively conservative outlets are unanimous in their agreement on this. It's such an easy point to defend. But anyway, so we agreed. And all of a sudden we start hearing cold feet on the other end. It was supposed to happen pretty soon afterwards, but then it gets pushed back a little bit from last Thursday to sometime this Monday, today or Tuesday, or like when exactly is it happening? And we're not getting that much like information back. And the Modern Day Debates guy is saying like, hey, they're being kind of, you know, tepid over there. And I tell you, okay, they did not want to debate people like Destiny and I. Now, again, this isn't because Destiny and I are big brain gods, okay? It's because the data on this is really, really clear. So if you're familiar with the data, and I'm pretty sure that we are, it's an incredibly easy point to make. Now, I hadn't actually heard anything official, but just yesterday I saw this tweet. It was linked to me by a fan. Thank you very much, fan. Really appreciate that. Somebody asked Mike Enoch, aren't you and Eric going to debate Vosh and Destiny? Lol, no, I don't have time for that shit. To which, of course, the, appropriate response is, beta! Beta. 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 So, Mike Enoch drops out. And I think, okay, sure, whatever. So, it's off. I kind of expected them to pussy out. But then, after I tweet about it, I see a tweet from Eric Stryker from a apparently new Twitter account. I wonder what happened to the last one. It's the first image on the most recently posted images. And here's what he has to say. We were initially confused about two white homosexual internet trolls appointing themselves spokesmen of the black race. It's really weird behavior, really copy behavior. We can break it down word by word. So it's funny that he would call us a homosexual considering how fucked he got by Destiny in their respective debate. But I don't know what this spokesman of the black race thing means. I don't think the black race has uniform ownership of all available data on criminology. Then he says, we wanted to have a conversation on race with black advocates. Now that is really funny to me. Now, first of all, I didn't hear plus you're white. I didn't hear anything from modern day debates saying that he was like violating some sort of presupposition that they would be debating black people. So they didn't really specify that. I sincerely doubt if they got paired up against two less than excellent white debate lefties, they would have complained about their race. Second of all, I don't know what race has to do with this. That's a little bit weird. I mean, we're just debating ideas, right? Free marketplace of ideas. What does it matter? But the funniest thing is, third of all, and this is the thing that really makes me, I guffaw, as one says, it's that, keep in mind, from the perspective of Eric Stryker, he's a full-on Nazi. I mean, you can look at his debate. Like, it's not, I don't need to infer anything, like he openly admits. The funny thing is, Eric Stryker, by way of his ideology, believes that black people are genetically intellectually inferior, which means he's actually openly admitting, from his perspective, that he was hoping to debate easier opponents. Just think of that from his perspective. You know? Like, imagine, like, he's like, oh, fuck, I'm up against white people. Fuck! They're slightly higher average IQ. God damn it! I was really hoping for that on average so-and-so point difference to really make up the disparity. It's very it's like a comedy skit. I don't know. But anyway, as you've probably read ahead of me here, it looks like James Alsup is going to be taking up Mike Enoch's position. Remember Alsup? He was relevant back when he had a YouTube channel. So that might still happen sometime in the future. We'll see how that goes. I don't know. Jesus. I think some of the comments here are really, really, really telling. The comments underneath. I think it would be smart to wait for Mike. I think Mike is actually very wise to distance himself from this future debate. What is there to even debate? The stats are what they are. Yeah, I agree. That's how I feel. That's what I feel going in. Like, I'm just gonna I'm Binder Andy, baby. I'm gonna come in there. I'm just be like, okay, let's talk about all this data. Like, what you gonna refute all of this on the fly? Like, what am I supposed to do? What are we gonna be debating? He's right. There's nothing to fucking debate. But this one is the funniest one for me. This is how the debate is going to go. They're going to admit black people commit tons of crime. Then they'll drag you down in the mud on the reasons why. These simpering little pussies, dude, they literally just want to throw out 1350 and then run away. Literally. They just want to say, like, 1350, I don't want to hear anything else. No context, no info. Just fucking flee the moment the 1350 is dropped. So I recommend using snark and one-liners once they come with shit like socioeconomic factors. It's such a transparent indication of their anti-intellectualism. Just mention that black people commit crime, and then when they start talking about why, or like sociology, or like any explanations, or like any data, just put your fingers in your ears and just like make jokes and stuff. It is very funny. So yeah, hopefully the debate happens. I do love me some, spicy contention. But before we end, I'll clarify now. Rose Wrist, are you in the Discord? Message me if you are. This is something Nazis really should not be. Why does that guy have the black power fist for an icon? Have you ever looked at what profile pics Nazis take online? Half of them are anime profile pics, and other ones are pictures of like black women whose lips are photoshopped to be bigger. Okay, don't involve me in their decision making. Okay, all right, Rose, I'll call you in a sec. So this is a subject that Nazis really should avoid debating, and I've been compiling this for a little while now. And that guy is on our side. He's being sarcastic. Is that true? Uh-oh. No, he's not, you dipshits. His first fucking retweet is from Mr. Medicare. Communist fighting for black and queer liberation. Have you guys seriously never seen a 4chan account? Jesus Christ. It was an ironic retweet. Oh, the second retweet, too. Oh, here's some Israel shit. Yeah, come on, guys. It's not subtle. There's a BLM profile pic. They must be a leftist. Anyway, this is a subject that Nazis really should avoid talking about. And I want to share something with you guys. I haven't actually talked about it on stream at this juncture, and I finally want to. And then I'm going to bring somebody else on to talk about it even more. So as some of you know, I have a research document where I compile stuff, okay? This is what it looks like. Well, this is what the first page of it looks like. It actually goes on for quite a while. We're up to about 18 pages at this point. I look forward to all you spamming the link in chat. Now, I want to address this very, very quickly before we dig into it. Stop spamming. I'll nuke all of you. I'll nuke everyone who's spamming it. I'll do it. I'll do it. Now, this is going to surprise you guys, but most of the arguments that I make on stream against right-leaning people aren't leftist arguments. They're not driven from some esoteric theory. They're not driven from some radical, far left perspective. They're actually just me reiterating the academic consensus on certain pieces of data. That's generally what they are. And it makes me feel, honestly, sometimes it makes me feel like a little bit of a hack, honestly, because when I'm reiterating this, I feel like I could be having such an interesting conversation right now, but I'm constantly arguing over the existence of factual information. I want to share some of this with you guys, if I may, very briefly. Now, at the very beginning of the largest section of this document, which is entitled Institutional Racism, is a credit to somebody who probably won't make an appearance on this stream in 5 minutes. But downstream from that, I've compiled data, or I've had data compiled for me. Again, we'll get to that. The gist of this, essentially, is every argument on systemic racism goes the exact same way. Every single time. Black people face higher rates of everything. Everything is worse for black people. Well, have you considered 1350? Oh! Darn! No, I didn't consider that. That's pretty much every argument. Now, the nice thing is, sociologists have invented a kind of magical data analysis called multivariate regression analysis. It is the mystical art of controlling for a number of variables to try and check whether or not the rate of a given variable is disproportionate concerning its relationship to other grounding variables. So, for example, let's say I make the argument, black people get arrested more, and then somebody else says, well, black people commit more crime. And then I account for the fact that black people commit more crime, and maybe a bunch of other factors, and then after all those variables are accounted for, we come to the conclusion that even when you account for all of that, black people still get arrested more. It's really complicated, so let's break it down. All of this data right here, these are highly respected, peer-reviewed articles which detail the numerous ways in which black people are disadvantaged in this country exclusively for their race. All of these articles account for the obvious correlating factors: crime, number of priors, socioeconomic status, and so on. Now, it is impossible for any multivariate analysis or multivariate regressive analysis to account for every single piece of data. It's not actually possible unless you're dealing with an incredibly simple equation, which we are not in this case. But when dozens after dozens of reputable, sometimes government-backed articles are all pushing the exact same point with every conceivable lurking variable being accounted for, time and time again reaffirming the same conclusions, eventually the plurality of data speaks for itself. I thought I could roll over a few of these. If you're ever interested in a sort of general analysis of Black exploitation and Black discrimination, the investigation of the Ferguson Police Department, which was done by the federal government, is probably the best thing that you can look at. It's a single case study on a single police department, but the plurality of ways in which Black people were disadvantaged specifically in that police district were, overwhelming. And again, this is all federal investigation. I mean, this isn't some wacky West Coast SJW shit. But, even if it was, you still have to contend with the data available. But if you go through this, and I encourage all of you to, if you ever have any intention of arguing your points, you'll find data points such as in Washington, D.C., Black people are far more likely to be stopped and searched than white people. For example, the Black population of D.C. is 25% greater than the white population, but they're 410% more likely to be stopped. The disparity is 1,465% for stops which led to no warning, ticket, or arrest, and 3,695% for searches which led to no warning, ticket, or arrest. So if you're Black, you're 37 times as likely to be impromptu searched and not have it lead to a warning, ticket, or arrest. Which kind of accounts for the criminality factor, doesn't it? After all, if you're being searched like that and it doesn't lead to anything, that was an completely impromptu and unnecessary use of state power, huh? An analysis of 4.5 million traffic stops in North Carolina showed that Black and Latino people were more likely to be searched than white people, in spite of the fact that white motorists were more likely to have contraband in their vehicles. Strange, that. In Nashville's Davidson County, Black people were pulled over so often that the rate of stops were 1,122 per 1,000 drivers. The average Black driver was pulled over more than once. Black drivers were also searched at twice the rate of white drivers, but white drivers had more contraband in their cars on average. This one's really new, actually. This one from Nature.com, one of the most reputable journals in, to my knowledge, all of human history, was a study of nearly 100 million traffic stops, which actually found something really, really, really funny. While Black people are very disproportionately pulled over during traffic stops and searches, that disparity closes after sunset, when you can't tell the race of the driver from the outside. That's kind of funny if you think about it, actually. In the cover of darkness, at long last, racism. Well, what's that old saying? Racism ends when the lights are off, or something like that. There's a saying something like that. It's literally that. It's literally the lights are off. We can't tell. We can't tell. It's true. So the sun, unfortunately, the sun is canceled. Unfortunate. I'm not even going into the majority of the data available here, but I've got it separated. Bias done in stop, searches, and arrests, so largely by police, and then biases in judges, juries, and prosecutors, including a tremendous amount of evidence that A, judges will use discretionary sentencing, even with all other factors accounted for, to put Black people away for longer. And when there is no discretionary sentencing involved, Black people are far more likely to be tried with crimes that will have a minimum sentence. That's on the side of the prosecutor. And that juries are very, very prone to implicit bias. They are far, far more likely to believe in the severity of evidence with regards to the criminality of the alleged perpetrator if that person is dark-skinned, as opposed to being white-skinned. all of this controls for other correlative factors. And you can go through all of it if you want. Death penalty sentencing is particularly heinous. Black people sure do get thrown into death sentences quite a bit more often. Significantly more often, mind you, if the murder victim was white. If the murder victim was black, black people are far less likely to be placed on death row. Interesting that. It's not just about punishing black people, it's about punishing black people for stepping against white people, or allegedly stepping against white people, because as it turns out, black people are also far more likely to have their convictions overturned, which is something that only happens when they are falsely convicted. Another thing that happens far more likely to black people. I am not done going through all this data. I'm not done adding to it either. Normally, with regards to the stuff in this research document, I try to keep it all very very brief. I try to brevity, you know. In the trans section, for example, there's a little bit more brevity. I try to keep things a little bit more light. But unfortunately, the issue with the systemic racism argument is that the only way to convince a lot of these people is through an overwhelming plurality of data. Because if you show them just 1 or 2 or 5 studies, they'll always respond with the same thing every single time. Well, what if there's some factor they didn't account for? Did they account for whether or not the black people said rap lyrics in court? Did they account for how low the pants were? Hey, let me see the methodology, bro. Oh, wow. It says they didn't even account for whether or not they hit the officer. Oh, what? They'll always do that. Every single fucking time. Every single time I do this. There's always something. Yeah, rap lyrics in court, exactly. I can't help but notice this data doesn't account for whether or not they spat on the floor of the courthouse and then called the judge a cracker. I don't see anything accounting for that. What if that accounts for the disparity? There's no racism involved here. What if they're just stupider, you know? I get this all the time. I mean, seriously. The fact of the matter is, multivariate regressive analysis is the only tool we have outside experimental studies to validate or confirm the existence of stuff like this. It's the only tool we have. It's the only way for us. Well, there are other statistical methods. My apologies. There are other statistical templates that you can apply. There are other approaches, but they all have fundamentally the same limitation. There might always be another factor that you didn't account for, which is why we go with plurality, which is why we go with an overwhelming amount of data. We dazzled them. Shock and awe, baby. The plurality of data right now, as expressed both in academia and by the government, is that there is, in fact, systemic racism in this country, and that it is, in fact, a product, in large part, of implicit bias on the part of individuals who play a part in that system, but also of long-standing consequences of pre-existing social forces. Now, I've gone over this before, but I want to be very clear about this. You don't need implicit bias. You don't need people being racist for a system to be racist. People tend to stay in the same economic quartile they're born into. That's just an economic fact. This country does not have perfect economic mobility. If it did, your likelihood of being rich would be equal regardless of whether you're born poor or rich. And likewise, your likelihood of dying poor would be the same no matter what economic quartile you're born into. But that's not the case, obviously. People born rich tend to die rich. People born poor tend to die poor. Generally speaking, with exceptions, but it is a statistical trend. So when you enslave the black people and then keep them as second-class citizens for 100 years, such that after they escape those circumstances, their average level of family household wealth is a fraction of that of the white people in this country, it is an economic guarantee that black people will suffer from massively disproportionate socioeconomic problems as a product of the history that they have experienced in this country. And that is racist, because that disparity is caused by racism. Just because that racism happened 50 years ago, or 60 or 70 or 100 years ago, does not mean that racism does not still have consequences. The length of time between incident and outcome does not change the relationship between those two factors. If I deck somebody in the face and break their nose, and they get up and they say, what the fuck? What the fuck? My nose is broken. That guy hit me. And I say, well, hold on. I hit you in the past. Your nose is still broken, true, but there are other people whose noses right now are not broken. And I would ask you to reflect on the possibility, and maybe there are things you could have done to have avoided having your nose broken at this juncture. It would be an absurd argument, of course. But it would be equally absurd even if there was a week of time between the punch and the confrontation, or even if there was a month of time between the punch and the confrontation. A month of time is actually a perfect example, because after a month, you can have your nose set. That is enough time. But it also might be the case that your nose is not set after a month. And I will tell you this, my friends, of the people today whose noses are currently broken, it is significantly more likely that at some point in the recent past their noses were broken than that their noses were fixed, not broken, and then just spontaneously broke with no inciting incident being enacted upon them. In essence, every outcome has an incident which beget it. And if you genuinely believe that the state black people are in this country is a product of their own doing exclusively, you are A, preposterously unintelligent or dishonest, and B, implicitly suggesting a genetic explanation to their socioeconomic problems. Oh, it's their culture? Well, why is their culture bad? I don't know. They just make bad decisions. Well, why do they make bad decisions? Well, I don't know. Well, then at that point, you can say they just do, and that's kind of a genetic bait right there. Or you can say, well, slavery may be affected, and then, aha! We go back to the cause, don't we? White people weren't enslaved in this country. Even the Irish, my ancestors, were indentured servants at the worst, which means their children were not property, and they were treated better on average than the black slaves by a pretty significant amount. Conflation of slavery and indentured servitude has always been a sort of catch-all, excuse made by people in this country who want to ignore the fact that black people have kind of gotten a bum deal in this country's history. Well, white people were enslaved too. Well, not really. No, it wasn't really the same. You didn't really have an entire country built on the back of chattel slavery of Irish people. Maybe in a better world. With that being said, because I've rambled for long enough, I have someone who I'd like to thank for the compilation of this data, and I'm going to bring that person on now, if I may, because they are the person who made the original document from which I callously ripped so many of my sources. Rose.
Hello.
Hello.
Can you hear me well?
I can hear you wonderfully. Hey, thanks for all that data.
No worries. Actually, one of the first things I wanted to say is it's not solely me that has compiled this. I did it with a friend of mine who I met through, my Discord server, and me and this other person have together compiled this this information.
Yeah, I'll bring it up on screen. Remind me, how old are you?
I'm 16 years old.
All right. The level of data analysis, the comfort with which you have synthesized the data in your document is, I think, like befitting of an actual academic. What do you have to say for your? What do you have to say for yourself?
Well, I really enjoy doing data collection. Something I find very fun and very enjoyable, and something that's very satisfying as well. And I also, I would like to, of course, thank schooling, especially like the IB program. It really teaches you like source analysis and citing things properly, which has been super useful. But also, and I would get to this a little bit later, other research documents that exist who have the format laid out and everything. So I can get ideas and, really see how you do this. But I sincerely appreciate the compliment.
Of course. One of the big problems that I've had with a lot of these lefty online documents is that they're really it's a scattershot approach. You go through it, and
Hmm.
it's a bunch of unannotated articles. Some of them are literally just like news articles, you know. Not all of them are peer reviewed. There's a lot of variability, and sometimes the data they cite there is actually like debunked. It's like old data. It's not useful or relevant anymore. But I looked
Hmm.
through your document, and though I haven't moved everything over yet, and again, I thank you for the permission to use that data. Um, the everything that you provided there, I mean, this is like actually like cracked data. There were a couple of annotations in there where you actually like cross-link this to other pieces of data that were relevant. Like for example, the one in which I forget the state that it was, where they had a law that if you could have a conviction overturned, a death penalty conviction overturned, if it turns out you could prove that your jury was racially biased, but then they overturned that law. Um, it was actually like really well put together.
Yeah, there's so much interplay between, all of these different informational, sources. And that's why, as you said as well before, having like a shorter list of things where it's not necessarily super bloated and it's a mess and you have like hundreds of pages of studies. Some of them are outdated, of course. When you try to keep it concise, then what happens is that it's much easier to make these connections,
Mhm.
because everything is more concise, everything's more to the point, and there's simply like less content to cover.
Yeah. Um, So, would you mind sharing with me your method for data collection?
Mhm.
I don't want to dig. If we dig too deep into this, people will get bored. But like, and sort of a fast out. Like, when it comes to looking at this data, collecting it, using it, what's your approach? Like, how do you go about that?
Yeah, so I have a 7-step plan, okay,
Good.
to compiling information. And the first step, simply picking a topic. Um, you want to have a topic that's specific enough that you can find. Broad enough that you can find a broad range of information about it that you can quote. But you don't want to make it overly large so that the document becomes really bloated. It takes a long time to produce and people don't really find specifically what they're looking for in the document. So that's the first thing. Pick a somewhat like small topic, I guess, so that you can fit all the necessary information while not bloating the document.
Mhm.
um, the second step would be looking at existing documents and see what type of information is out there and what citations other people have. So some good resources for this include the source library, which is something that's pretty popular, where they have a whole range of collection from a large range of sources. And then you can go through there. You can see, hey, which ones of these are relevant, which ones repeat themselves, because that's something you see often in these really large documents that some things often repeat themselves.
Very
And
often,
then you
yes.
want to pick then you want to pick the most like non-repeating ones, the most that are individual and show like the broadest picture with the least amount of studies, so that doesn't get bloated again. And the third step is that you make an outline. So you divide all the information that you have from other documents into categories. Some of the categories that I used in my original document included criminal justice system, and under that, sentencing and racial profiling, socioeconomics, and under that, housing, utilities, employment, voting, education. So just having a brief outline and then organizing the data that you have already into those categories. And what this gives you is it gives you like an outline of, okay, so what things do I want to cover? What things do I have like points for, but that I didn't find studies for already? And which of them are maybe some categories are too bloated, they repeat themselves again. It's super important to get rid of stuff that repeats itself, and seeing what's missing basically. So once you have an outline with certain studies that you have already found, on other source compilation websites, which very importantly, you should always contact the people that made that thing and make sure that they're aware and ask for their permission to um, borrow some of their citations. Once you have that, then you want to look for your own information that you want to add on top of that. And for this, there's a wide range of resources that you can use. Google Scholar, really good. Helps you look for academic papers on whatever topic really, and it's really tailored towards just finding the academic papers and skipping all the articles and forums and things like that. Um, if some papers happen to be behind a paywall, you can use Sci-Hub to unlock them. Sci-Hub is a website that bypasses the paywall. However,
Allegedly.
allegedly, sorry, this
Allegedly.
is all they
Allegedly. We've
just you
never
just put
been.
in a random code and they just give you a bunch of random numbers and letters. They have nothing to do with the original code or that paper.
Mhm.
It's
I've never
completely
been
random.
there. I've just heard
Nope,
rumors. We disavow,
exactly.
of course.
It's not true. Okay, it's a meme. I don't know if it's the same in the United States, but here in Europe, when you look for the aforementioned website, it gives you an error link and you can't open it. So in order to access the working, but remember this isn't actually a working website, the working version of the not real website, you have to do sci-hub.st to get through this blockage. I don't know if it's only a European thing or if it's an American thing as well. And thirdly, if you don't find the necessary information from Google Scholar and things like that, you can look for articles, but the key thing here is that you don't cite the article. Mostly articles are often referencing a study, and they may not always link it, but at some point they typically give either the publisher, the year, or the author, and then you can look for it. You can find the study by itself, and then you read the study and cite the study. You typically don't want to cite articles though, because it's less reliable simply.
Well, yeah. Also,
opinions.
because news articles will very often sensationalize or misrepresent the actual data, and also it's a big dick point kind of thing, for the most part. It's also a matter of being able to actually like link the methodology. Do you have an interest in getting into the social sciences when you get to uni?
Absolutely. Funnily enough, I'm actually really interested in political science and as my minor, but then as my major, sociology. So
Well,
it's absolutely an interest of mine.
yeah, being able to look at like the methodology of a study like that and explain it to somebody who doesn't seem to understand. It's not even a matter of, because you're not going to be able to look at a study and replicate it in your brain. It's not really possible to do that. But if you can just explain how it works to somebody who seems incredulous of its outcomes, it's incredibly useful. Honestly, just for winning arguments, which, let's be real, is why we're compiling the data. It's not like academics were in desperate need of more information on systemic discrimination, of Black people in the United States. They're aware. Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. Like, and ironically, one of the main reasons why I wouldn't do sociology, so I can look at studies and actually like critique them with, an academic backing and have the, necessary credentials to be able to maybe criticize it if I want to, or ensure that bad arguments like, did you account for whether they were spitting bars, while they were being, put in court, how you can, address that with some level of authority at least. So yeah, that's one of the reasons why I'm interested in sociology, and aforementioned the reason of being able to win arguments. Cite your information consistently. So once you've found the information from other sources, you have a structure, then you find your own information using the methods I listed previously. You want to cite them in a way that's consistent, so both for just appeal, so that it looks nice, but also including the most relevant information in your citation. So this includes the author, the date, and the publisher / institution who put out this information, and then just a handful of the key points from that study. This can be anywhere from like 2 to like, I would say 7 points, maybe 5, in order to not make it be too bloated. And here you want to just summarize the key points from that study, so that it doesn't become, once again, too bloated and nobody will read it.
Yeah, I feel this is one of the things that the documents fuck up on traditionally. Annotations and relevance are infinitely more useful than just like the scattershot approach where you just link 20 studies. Holy shit! If you're arguing with somebody, because it's always unfair, like in their favor, we have to prove everything, and if we ever get anything wrong, we lose the debate because the bias, because Squad W. So if we're linking like 20, 30 studies or something, and then one of them says like, oh, wait, this is actually for a different thing, or, oh, look, this actually kind of says that they were ambivalent about the data. If they can do that for one of them, it makes you look so fucking weak. Yeah, it makes you look so bad.
Exactly. So that's why, making like relevant, and most importantly, it's always better to have the key points be a little bit more bloated than miss out some element of the study that's pretty important and then have that person actually be aware of it and then call you out on that. So yeah, the most important thing is always represent the studies accurately while still keeping the sort of like concise nature of it. So once you have this, you have your structure, you have studies from other people who've compiled them and from yourself, then you want to review all of them again. And here, once again, you want to make sure that the document's not bloated, that people will actually read it. And you judge the studies by three core like metrics, I would say. Number one, relevancy. Of course, you want to make sure that all the documents are directly, all the studies are directly relevant to the point you're trying to make, so that it's not adding unnecessary material to the document that doesn't really provide the reader with any new important information or ideas. Secondly, if you have repeating studies, you may just want to pick the one with the higher credibility. So whether this be like what two studies showing the same thing, one was just published by just a group of researchers, and one was published by a group of researchers in like Harvard, for example, like through Harvard, and they say the same thing. Probably pick the Harvard one to not upload the document and to have the most credible, studies in your thing. And then thirdly, when it comes to comprehensiveness, so if you have two studies, one of them talking about like the way police, are biased in policing within a specific city, within a like a state, for example, and then you have another one that illustrates the overall trend in that entire state. You're probably going to want to pick the one that has the entire state, because if you have both of them, then the city one is kind of irrelevant unless you're, of course, discussing that city in particular. So then you can remove the city-specific one for the purpose of not being bloated and to be comprehensive. And once again, meta-analyses, great on all three of these points. So if you have meta-analyses, your things are always good.
Yeah. It's really difficult
really
difficult to get meta-analyses on criminological stuff, though, because everything varies so much in a city-by-city, state-by-state level. And you have to account for so many facts. I think it's easier with stuff that's a little bit more individualistic, like, for example, trans data or studies on scientific, queries. Because when you're doing those, I mean, people are going to respond to treatment the same, whether they're in Tuscan or, Seattle. But when it comes to criminological stuff, there can be a huge amount of variance. Finding those meta-analyses is really rewarding, though.
Exactly, really. And it's like, yeah, it's the best type of, study you can, really cite. And here is the key thing that I think that something that we did in our document that I haven't seen any other documents do. And this is that we summarized the key points of each of our category into a little like executive summary, I guess, at the beginning of this document. So what we had here is we tried to summarize the key points of each of these aforementioned sections. So the sections were, criminal justice in terms of policing, sentencing, and then socioeconomics, housing, education, the employment, things like that. And then having the key points from each of those different categories. And then the point of this isn't to just repeat, the statistics, I guess, that were the most interesting from those categories, although you certainly can do that. The point of this is basically, this is like the elevator speech, right? This is where you're like, okay, all this information that I have under the category of sentencing, stands to prove the fact that I can read this actually directly from the document. Black people are discriminated against at virtually every level of the criminal justice system. So that's a nice, comprehensive, overarching statement about what all the research indicates. And this is what you want to read out whenever you're presenting this to anybody. You don't want to go down and read through every study. You want to read through the key points and the overall, view. And then if someone challenges you on any of these statements, then you go into the more specific parts and the studies that are specifically under like the sections.
Right. We have to match their effort. A lot of the conservatives we debate online have dedicated hours of their life to memorizing stat collages from Poll about black crime and about trans suicide rates. So we should reflect their effort, just a little bit, by actually reading real studies for at least a little bit. It's so easy to get all the data together with just a little bit of effort invested, but that's the point of the source documents, right? To help people with that process.
Exactly, and that was one of the main things that we had in mind when we created this document, was that, okay, we want to get rid of this idea people have of racism as being something, abstract, super interpersonal, without any really, well, this is what racism looks like. So the point of this document is really to be like, okay, here are the stats. These are the material consequences of systemic racism in the United States of America. This is how it manifests itself. This is racism. It's not some abstract personal, engagement between two people. Right, it's something large. Exactly.
Well, that's one of the things that makes protesting against it difficult. it's actually much easier to protest against racism during something like the Jim Crow era because there's a very concrete, solid, definite, written into law thing we can unite against.
Mm.
Whereas nowadays, the sort of nebulous, overbearing systemic racism is it's like, well, there's a slightly higher percentage chance on average of mistreatment in this respect with this. It can be a lot harder to nail down. But I mean, criminologists have been working on it for decades now. So I
Mhm.
guess we should probably pick up the pieces.
Yeah, exactly. And this is, the kind of distinction that you have to make in the beginning of all these discussions. The distinction between, you've gone over this on your stream, explicit, implicit racism, and then the how and policy can have a racist impact. Things like this, which you have to, do the groundwork whenever
Yeah.
you have any of these
Which
discussions.
step are we on again? I think I might have lost the plot on the specific step by
I
step.
don't think I clearly differentiated between all the
That's
steps.
okay.
So
When you said 7 steps, I thought you were joking at first, like you were saying
I
an
wasn't actually
arbitrarily
joking. I
large
come very
number.
prepared.
You know, like yeah, here's well, I mean, it clearly shows in the fucking document. That's the thing. Listen,
Yeah.
I mean, I graduate. I did the sociology degree, so I know how to. I mean, generally, you need to be a master's degree before you make a study yourself. But I can like look at the process, you know. But I'm a generally
Mhm.
pretty lazy guy. Also, reading pretty cringe, honestly. It's I'm complete very happy giving credit here. The work you did to compile all that data was phenomenal. Not even like on an age based thing, but just the fact that you did it and annotated it too, and it was good data. It wasn't just crap articles. That is really fucking impressive. And I appreciate you, I guess, subsidizing my my lackadaisy a little, you know?
Really appreciate these compliments. And it's like I feel like from over here in Europe, in the situation where I am as like a 16-year-old kid, I feel like this is the most I can do, and this is like really what something I find really enjoyable, something I can do well, and something I can do to just like help the movement in general.
Do you what motivated you to do all this on American racism while you're over there in Switzerland?
Well, first of all, just like American politics is, really popular wherever in the world you go. And then this was, in the light of all the, the protests and everything happening in the United States. But if I were to be like really condense this into what personally gave me the inspiration to do this, um, it was the way like people in my age were like talking about this. I felt like a lot of people felt that, hey, I really want to do something about this. I want to do something, but then it ended up just being condensed into like posting black squares on their social media. So what I try to do then is try to like step away from that and try to do something that could actually be utilized in an effective way by people who discuss this. And for me personally, when it comes to like my skills and like where I am and in my life, this seemed like the best thing I could do, both from like a place of I really want to do something, and just like this is something I enjoy doing in general, and that I think is very productive and very useful.
Absolutely. I really appreciate you coming on to gloat about your giant brain. I'm sure the people in chat who weren't able to do all this at 16 really appreciate it.
I really appreciate the opportunity to be allowed to come out here and gloat in front of, how many is it, like 5,000 people?
Yeah, thereabouts.
And also, I should have mentioned this at the beginning, but I forgot. Congratulations on like you like blew past. Like what happened? You were like 80, 90K, and then over like a few days, you're up at like 120.
Yeah, 100K was tacky, so I decided to skip past it as quickly as possible, and now
I realize this.
we're about
Damn. Well,
130
congratulations
now.
anyway.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
Well, hey, listen. I mean, that's more people to take a look at the document that you basically made. Um,
Exactly.
Thank you very much, Rose Wrist. I really appreciate it. Do you want to shout out your socials? I know you do.
Yeah, I do. I do. So the main place where you can find me is on YouTube. I have a YouTube channel with like 1,300 subscribers, something like that, and it's titled Rose space wrist. Rose like the flower, wrist like the body part. Up there most recently, actually, I uploaded just before this stream. Total coincidence. I put out little a kind of like an edit, a compilation of interesting moments from a recent debate I had, which is something I do on my channel. I do debates. I do discussions, more academic ones as well. I had a discussion with a teacher from the Netherlands this weekend, for example, about economics, schooling, and gender. And then some prepared videos, which I'm interested in doing, like just little like bite-sized videos about a certain political issue that are, with sources and reference and everything, just to build like a general idea of the policies and things that I think are important and that I believe in. So that's the main place I would like to shout out my YouTube channel, Rose Space Wrist.
All right. The people in chat say 400 new subs in 30 seconds. So there you go. They took the message.
All right, fantastic.
Be well, comrade. I really appreciate the work that you've done, and Jesus Christ, keep it up, okay? I expect you to fix racism by like 19. All right,
I got it. Okay,
going,
it's gonna be done. Okay, by the time I get to 19, it's gonna be over. Okay.
Buy out the CEO of racism.
Exactly. Also, I'm ahead of you on this one. I remember last time you wanted me to say transrättigheter at the end of the stream.
Mm-hmm.
I came ready. I came prepared.
Did you buy that shirt specifically for the purpose?
I didn't buy it specifically for that purpose. I had it from before, but I was like, you know what? Now is as good of a time as any to wear it and flex this drip a little bit. So
I'm wearing an anime shirt, so that's basically the same thing. But
it is basically the same.
They are happy. Be well.
You too.
Bye.
Bye.
What an impressive young person. Is that patronizing for me to say? I'm really not that old. I'm 26. Very impressive. We had a lot of like, I know, because the people in chat who are thirsting are all like TikTokers, I'm pretty sure. Because I didn't recognize a lot of their names, so I'm pretty sure a lot of the people in chat who are being inappropriate were like kids themselves. You guys got to get a handle on yourselves, okay? Hooba Booba is for 18 and older, all right? Okay? I see a lot of this on TikTok too. I really do. In TikTok, the comments are filled with a lot of really weird, like kind of inappropriate sexual shit. Like that happens a lot. It's really fucking weird. Like, now I don't mind it on me because I'm 26 and I'm fine and I'm, settled. But there are a lot of the comments are just like, for me, and TikTok's about me, like, oh my god, so hot, oh what I do, oh stuff like that. But we don't really do that on YouTube, so I feel like it might be a TikTok specific thing. Well, they're not pedos on TikTok because they're talking about me. Do I look like the type of person a pedophile would go after? I'm talking about chat comments on my chat. Yeah, oh yeah, this is what really gets the pedophiles going. It's the 26-year-old who looks like he's in the 30s vibe. Nice meme. But anyway, yeah. You calm down, you kids. Anyway, that research document, it's going to keep growing. I encourage all of you to spread it around as much as possible and defer to it if you're interested in answers in some very basic questions that are relevant to some of the topical debates going on online. Yeah, our under 18 audience has exploded in size since the TikTok shit. Look at that. 27% 17 and under. That is insane. It was not that high a month ago. Can we talk real quick? No, JBC, what? You can DM me. Yeah, you're also fucking young. Jesus Christ. Well, hey. Does that mean it's Butterfield time? Did we do it? Did we arrive? Did we did we navigate our way finally to this to this particular kerfuffle? Wait, I'm looking at YouTube chat. Hey, YouTube chat, motherfuckers. Which one of you are the Butterfields? We got any butter boys in YouTube chat? I'm looking at you. Yeah, we got any butter brains? I'm not seeing many people laying claim to the butter brain mantle. Could you touch on the topic of Poland literally becoming a dictatorship? Oh, that sounds kind of depressing, to be honest. A few of them are butter brains. Hold on, I'm gonna use the restroom real quick, and then we'll talk about Butterfield. This should actually be pretty funny. This feels like a blast from the past, I'll be right back. You know what I need to do? I need to have, when I go off to use the restroom, I need to have like a second cam that I can put over one of my lizards so you all can look at the lizard, you know? That's a good setup idea. I'll put that in the works, okay? So you guys can have something, not that she does much, but she's cute.
Toss a coin to your streamer, oh viewers aplenty. Toss a coin to your streamer, oh viewers aplenty. Toss a coin to your streamer, oh viewers aplenty. Toss a coin to your streamer, oh viewers aplenty.
All right. Oh, you're that mad, huh? I thought if I took an extra long time, you all wouldn't make fun of me for not washing my hands. That's surprising. We only lost 100 people? For that long of a bathroom break? Huh. That's actually pretty impressive. 5 people donated a large amount collectively? Oh shit, they really did. What the fuck? Alright. What? Geronimo, okay, all right, okay, hold on, okay, all right, hold on, okay, all right. Can we, can we stop with the, guys, all right, I'll start banning. We need to get more bots in this chat. I need to talk to I'm gonna do them. I'm gonna talk to White Nervosa, okay? You people have gotten away with far too long. When are you gonna talk about Isaac? Right now! We're doing donos afterwards. Geronimo! Oh, God. Alright. Sorry, just stretching. How much potential do you think you have for growth in your website? Well, I can't go back on Twitch. They're not gonna unban me. So, it's just, yeah. I mean, I don't care if my website grows. I care if my YouTube channel grows. My website is just something I have in the meantime to keep me from wanting to kill myself at how bad YouTube chat is. You know, when I got banned off Twitch and I went to YouTube the next day, I was so depressed. I was so depressed. Even though I got hundreds of viewers on YouTube, which was more than I was getting on Twitch, I was so sad because my community was dead. The community in Twitch with all the cute little emotes and everything, that was gone. And now I moved to YouTube and now it's just like being thrown into a fucking basket, you know? But then White Nervosa made this site. And now, no matter how large I get, no matter how big YouTube gets, I will always have this community. I mean, the people may change, but I'll always have control. MS Sloth. My goodness. Hold on. Hold on. We gotta get to something first. We gotta do it. It's time. You're basically outperforming Destiny in views now? Almost. The difference between Destiny and I is that Destiny streams all the time. He'll stream 8 to 10 hours a day, 6 days a week. All the time. He'll stream all the time. I stream in short blocks where I do not prepared content, but very specific, dedicated content. And then I do my video game streams as well. So, yeah, there's a different, you know, it's a different thing. In terms of total viewership, Destiny still blows me the fuck out of the water. But in terms of like these short bursts, I'm doing pretty well. Your concern is more about money than views? Freudian slip there? What? Oh no, I don't give a fuck about... No, views are way more important to me than money. At this point, you guys already give me way too much money. You already give me too much. I don't need... I don't need more money. The views are what I want. Oh yeah, if I could make a pack, that would be nice. That is true, Fang. Alright, it's time. No more distractions, folks. Everyone, cork your ears because we're about to listen to an accent. What? Geronimo! Jesus, you're gonna have your name said a lot when we get to donos. Vosh simps with pride. Everyone, focus. So, some of you may remember, I don't know why you would remember. I don't know why you would remember, because I never even made this a video. But like a month ago, I did a stream, and in that stream, I did a bit on Isaac Butterfield. For those of you who don't know, Isaac Butterfield is a comedian? He's like, he just does like kind of shitty reactionary videos. And he's Australian, worst of all. Here we go. Fat activists angry at Adele. America has fallen. A man learns about feminist sex. Lily Singh hates men. Oh, here's him talking with Bering. That's pretty far right. Questioning feminism is hate speech. Should we fat shame Lizzo? The worst feminists on TikTok. It's, you know, it's basically a channel meant to pander to the political orientation of every stupid 14-year-old white boy. But it's being done by an older man, and it's aggressively juvenile. Now, I did a segment on one of his videos before, and it was this one, Worst Feminists on TikTok. Look, he's got the Me Dick Stanks little board right here.
Good motherfuckers, the Buttsman here. Hope you're doing bloody not bad at all. Oh, I'm excited about this video.
You can already tell the kind of energy this guy gives. Kind of like a 2013 YouTube React videoer, like a kind of Septiceye, like PewDiePie kind of vibe, except he's like cringing at TikTok teens or something. Anyway, I watched the video and I thought it was really weird. It was like a really weird video because he would find these like segments of just like 14-year-olds on TikTok and then just make fun of them, and they weren't even like doing anything. They were just kind of existing. Like a 14-year-old would say like, men are annoying sometimes, and he'd be like, "Ah, fucking right, well, weren't for men then civilization wouldn't have been built, wouldn't it, you nasty little cunt?" Like, that kind of thing. That's like the vibe, basically. And at a couple of points, he made some really weird sexual comments. Like, he talked about sex with regards to these, like, children. I thought it was really weird. I don't know. Like a grown man facilitating a hate mob of 13-year-old boys against 13-year-old girls. It was like a really weird vibe. Anyway, I never released that segment because it felt like I was punching down. Isaac Butterfield is not particularly bright. At least that's not the impression that I get. And he doesn't seem that, like, I don't know. God, it sounds so pretentious. Worthy? I don't know. It feels like beneath me. Is that like a horrible thing to say? It kind of does, though. I don't know. No, he's a large figure. There's no denying that. It's just, I don't know. But I guess, yeah. Well, he made a video on me. Crazy angry soy boy hates me. That's, I guess he's like, just looking for content? I don't know. But, yeah, let's take a look. That's why the stream we're on right now has so many dislikes, by the way. They came over here and told me I was a bad person or something. I don't know. Let's take a look. I haven't watched it, but I have heard rumors. I've heard rumors that he gets really mad, really triggered. So we'll see. Australianism is a disease.
G'day, ladies and gentlemen, you good motherfuckers. It's fantastic to be back on your little screens here. May I just say this, ladies and gents. Holy dooly, this is massive. A huge merch drop is coming next Wednesday, the 1st of July.
Whoa, no shilling on my dime. Oh.
Somebody who's been talking mad shit about your favourite pal, the Buttsman. They've been carrying on like an absolute chop fucking liver. And I've...
Okay. I understand that all of you right now are experiencing a reflexive dislike of this person due to his behavior, but I'm actually going to try to focus on the arguments that he makes, rather than just making fun of him over and over again for being an unbearably cringy piece of shit.
Talked about a lot of dickheads on this channel, but this absolute cock smoker takes the cake. But ladies and gentlemen, before we go on, this video is brought to you by our favourite sponsor, Raid Shadow Legends.
Seriously?
Become the hero of Teleria. Join.
I'm the vehicle for delivering a Raid Shadow Legends spot. Raid! Raid, you can't do this to me! Also, is cocksmoker a homophobic term, or is it just like a general derivative? I genuinely don't know. I mean, I have no idea.
A day XP booster and one free champion, the
Holy shit, it's the first 2 minutes of the video.
Executioner. This pack will only towards right there. And Vosh.
Oh, we got it.
Right.
He said my name right!
There. Someone sent me this video of this dude, this small-time YouTuber
Whoa.
called Vosh.
Whoa! He said my name right! I don't care that he said small time. He said my name right! He's not a fascist. We know. Wait, hold on. What is this guy's viewership? Hold on. I need to know. Does he get to what's the gap, you know? I need to know. I'm curious. $7.5 million in the past month. And I'm at nearly 5.5 million. You can't call me a small time. Nah, I'm getting up there. I'm getting pretty, you know, for someone with 1.4 million subs, I think you'd be a little farther ahead on the viewership than me. But okay, we're okay. I'm smaller than you. Okay, we're getting there. Okay. Just wanted to make sure, you know.
And Vosh is, I don't want to spoil the video, Vosh is the biggest fuckwit that I've ever seen in my entire existence.
Is that true?
And I know Vosh will watch this, so hey Vosh, fuck you, cocksucker.
How did he know? How did he know? He can't keep getting away with it. Fucking Joseph Joestar over here. Ho ho! And your next line will be, and now we're going to watch this Isaac Butterfield video. And now we're going to watch this Isaac Bacana! Yeah.
Let's get to know Vosh a little bit more before we get on with the video he made about me. He introduces himself on his YouTube channel, his very small YouTube channel.
Okay, all right, okay, come on. Been at it for a year and a half. I'm working on it, all right.
By saying, hey, comrades. Fucking comrades.
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 Comrade.
All right. 2 words into his fucking intro about himself, and you already know that this bloke has not got the ability to think for himself. He cannot understand history, and, as I referred to earlier, is a complete fucking tool. Just for the uninitiated,
he's gonna do the 100 million. He's gonna do the 100 million, isn't he?
A quick lesson. Communism makes you very dead. For example, just ask the people of the Soviet Union. According to the book Death by Government, in the late 1910s to the late 1980s, an estimated 61 million people were dead. Mao's China.
Wait. How many of them died just due to old age? Wait, look, I criticize the USSR and Mao's China all the time. But sometimes when you look at these figures that are like this many deaths, you'll find that they're counting like regular deaths too. You know what I mean? Even the people who worked on that 100 million dead, the Black Book of Communism video, even those people said like they were reaching, you know? Yeah, the Black Book is like a complete joke. I'm not saying these are good or anything. I just think it's funny how like triggered he is by the word comrade.
35 to 40.
Oh yeah, they count Nazi soldiers. Oh yeah, they counted Nazi soldiers. Look at the victims of communism. The literal Nazis littering the fields of Leningrad. We weep for the victims.
Million dead comrades. Oh, fucking sick one, Vosh. The Cambodian genocide.
He does say my name right. Credit where credit's due.
2 million people wiped out. You're a fucking dickhead, Vosh. Did I mention that yet? He goes on to say that this channel exists so I can channel my creative energy, autistic talent, and rhetorical skill into something productive and useful to others.
What is he gonna do? How is he gonna satirize that part? I've been meaning to redo my YouTube bio, by the way. I feel like it's a little outdated.
Now that seems to be yelling at reactionaries and fascists. Who knows what the future will hold? Reactionaries being people like me who react to things and
the return. This really is like the Hunter Avalone video. That's me. That's my enemy. Oh yeah, that's who I'm taking down. People who react to things. My long lost enemy, Markiplier, you know? And it's all React Dandies. My greatest nemesis on Twitch, Hassan, a React Dandy.
And fascists being people like me who disagree with people like him.
Nice meme.
That's fascist now, according to... Hitler used to be the fascist that everyone compared people to. Now people who slightly disagree with the left side politics. Everyone's a fucking fascist, baby.
What about the millions of Americans who agreed with Hitler before we went to war with Nazi Germany and who went to Nazi rallies in America? Were those people fascists? What ideas did they hold? Did any of those ideas survive World War II? Did those ideas get passed down to their children? Did those ideas disappear completely, or were they preserved through the fabric of our cultural discourse? I don't know. It's kind of a complicated issue. But nowhere in the definition of fascism will you find this applies to Adolf Hitler and no one else. So I don't know. He's getting real defensive real quick.
Baby, if you want to know a little bit more about Vosh, Vosh is that fat little boy who lives in his mother's basement with a shit haircut and Cheetos and jizz on his fingers from last night. Now,
Throwing out a lot of ad homs here, my dude. Man. All right, sure.
Vosh made a very intriguing video about me, an extremely defamatory video about me.
Defamatory. Oh, we're busting out the legal argument here.
He attacked everything about me. Now, before we go into that video, I'm telling you it's worth sticking around for. Who is this man? Well, according to rationalwiki.org,
Whoa, citing Rational Wiki. What are you, some kind of libcuck?
Vosh is a socialist. Nice one, dickhead. Other words, a child who doesn't understand history.
Nice
He
meme.
advocates for pro-markets, libertarian socialism. Jeez, he's got too much fucking time on his
Oh, look at that. Look at that.
history. He advocates
Look, the libertarian socialism link is purple. He clicked on that. Do you think he knew what it was before he saw it?
for pro-markets, libertarian socialism. Jeez, he's got too much fucking time on his hands to replace
I'm just a political YouTuber. What do you? It's my job. What do you mean?
capitalism. Fuck you, capitalism's great as an economic system in the near
I think this video was below me too. I'll just let him do his thing, I guess. I don't need to retort to every shot he takes.
future. He's gained a modest amount of fame, not really, for his online videos, criticising and debating
He's so mad.
Picard, Blair White, Count Dankula, etc., etc. But also known for his sexual harassments and attempts to cover those up.
Yeah, gimme.
Whoa, just like to say, that's all allegedly, and that's just according to rationalwiki.com. I don't know what the fuck they're talking about. I'm sure he's a great guy. I'm sure he's just fucking lovely.
Why is this guy such a fucking coward, dude? Just accuse me of... Wait, why is this guy such a oh, well, that's just what I heard. I'm not saying it. Dude, what the fuck? When I told you you were like a little fashy, groomer, sub-room temperature IQ dipshit, I just said it. I didn't have to decorate it. I thought you were all about, masculinity. Why don't you just fucking go for it? Beta.
Let's move on from the private life of this alleged creep. There is a whole video series about him doing that on his channel, and he admits to being a creep, so I'm not going to touch that with a 10-foot pole, much like any female that's around you, Vosh. So let's find out why I have the shits with this self-described pansexual.
Oh, shit. He's coming. He's coming after me. Oh, by the way, I just want to say, just to perfectly clarify, because I have talked about the sexual harassment thing a million times, I will say this with 100% certainty. The shit this motherfucker does on his channel with, the little fucking girls he finds on TikTok to make comments about is a trillion times as creepy as everything I've ever done in my life combined. Just to be perfectly clear. We're talking an exponential margin.
Pansexual is, which should be all of you because it's not a thing. It is where you're not attracted to the gender, the biological gender of the person.
Biological gender.
One of two, you're only attracted to people.
So there's this guy called Isaac Butterfield, and to my understanding, he is Australian, which is already a point against him.
Suck a fat one, you enormous looking fucking Ragnar Lothbrok soy boy shit stain.
Wait, is that supposed to be an insult? Wait, why is he throwing that up there? Is that supposed to be an insult to me? He's like, you fucking wanker, you look like this handsome, attractive, masculine man. Okay, I'm sure, I'll take it. Thanks. Even if we ignore that fact, this guy's videos keep popping up on my feed.
Yes, because YouTube The very company wants you to subscribe to my channel because it's amazing, perfect, and wonderful. Do it, Foshy. Do it, little boy.
I guess I don't like them. It's like a weird sex thing. Wait, am I already subscribed to him? Oh, I'm already subscribed to him.
Toss a coin to your streamer. Oh,
So,
viewers aplenty.
I guess he preempted that too? How tall is he? Does anyone know how tall he is? If you call me little boy, I get to look this up. Known to be 6'8". Is that true? I'll take the little boy if that's true. But I have a feeling that's not true. Where is it? In 2019, streaming service Netflix canceled a deal with Butterfield to produce his comedy special due to controversy surrounding his jokes made about the Holocaust. Holy shit. All right, well. Jeez. That was just a little tidbit there. I didn't know that. Aussie celebs. Do we have the confirmation? I just need to know if you call me little boy. Height 188.976. I assume that's in centimeters? That's 6'2". We're the same height! Isaac! Isaac, if this is true, we could look at each other eye to eye. Little boy, little man. We could embrace each other. What's your wingspan? I bet we could give each other nice big hugs. All right, sorry. It's completely tangential. I like the little tidbits, you know? Them very much. I get kind of a strange vibe from them. The man with the $100,000 boobs. Do you think this is actually a man or is it like a trans woman? I don't really know.
No, it was a man who got breast implants after he lost a bet. A regular man, an everyday run-of-the-mill man. Should have watched the video and done your research, you little creep. Now he's...
Well, that's why I asked, because I didn't know. That is interesting, though. $100,000 on a bet. And breasts. Huh.
Video of him reacting to me goes for 34 fucking minutes, and I love you guys. I'm not going to put you through that.
Yeah,
Why? Because I care about your mental health. And fuck this dude as well. So I thought I'd just give you the
I don't
highlights,
edit.
shall we? G'day, you good motherfuckers. The Buttsman here. Hope you do.
Oh, God. Now I have to move my current cam. Oh, shit. All right. Here we go. As always, you know the rules. Top right, Vosh is current Vosh. Bottom right, Vosh is old Vosh. And fuck me, we look pretty much the same, don't we? Okay, you can tell because past Vosh has had a haircut in the past week. And current Vosh has had a haircut in the past month, okay? That's what we're doing right now.
I'm bloody not bad at all. Oh, I'm
Australianism is a disease. This is the first and last time I'm going to say it.
Know your fucking place, trash.
Bosh, in response to your rudeness, I would like to point out that I and everybody watching this feels like they've been sexually assaulted by that enormous cyst on your ear. Can you get that?
Whoa! That's libel. That's a keloid, my dude. That's not a cyst. I'm gonna sue you for defamatory statements.
Fucking sort it out, dickhead. Can you find a doctor that has a scalpel big enough to take that big cysty mess and fuck it off? Excited about this.
I want to point out, by the way, that the pretense of this video is that I'm supposed to be, like, super rude or whatever, but this dude has not only made comments about my appearance, but he's also dredged up stuff from my past. I literally just went over his video. That was the only thing that I did. He's really fucking mad. That's so weird. I don't know if it's like a dearth of content or anything like that for him, like he's run out of, like, 13-year-old girls to creep on TikTok, but yeah, oh yeah, and my sexuality too. Like, that's all pretty. I mean, I just, like, made a comment about his beard being jiggly, and that was pretty much it. Very fragile. Very strange. Behavior of a small YouTube channel, to be honest.
This video. Feminists all over the globe have taken over the fastest rising social media platform that we have ever seen.
So right now, just to clarify, we're watching Isaac Butterfield being watched by me, being watched by Isaac Butterfield, being watched by me. Just so we're all clear on the layers.
Tick tock.
All right. Can we just agree that anyone who talks like this is probably a groomer?
A groomer.
True!
Like a child groomer. That's some pretty heavy shit to allege in a video.
Whoa, whoa! I thought we were all about making alleged comments in this here video.
Based on someone yelling at a camera. Some interesting defamatory comments, Vosh. You fucking dumb cunt.
Well, it's not defamatory when you don't... That's not what defamatory means. First of all, maybe Australia law is different? You're getting a little defensive there. Hey, listen, Isaac, and Isaac's fans, I'll be perfectly clear, okay? I have no evidence whatsoever to prove or disprove whether or not Isaac Butterfield is a groomer. However, there is a problem on YouTube with YouTubers who will appeal to young people with this extremely bombastic, very juvenile language. And at least from what I've seen being on YouTube my life, sometimes this does lead to the abuse of young people in that community. Because when you act this way, you get a lot of young people in your community, and you have the language then and a sort of shield against, criticism for engaging with those elements of the community. Now, it could also be possible that you're just aggressively unfunny and juvenile, and there's no other weird ulterior motive. That is totally possible, and I acknowledge that. And if it upsets you so much, my funny jokes, if they trigger you too much, I will, I'll calm down, okay? I don't like seeing you so upset. I don't know, dude. When I'm watching like a man in his 30s, like phrase things so that I... Correction, on the old video, apparently Isaac's like 26. Hard to tell with the beard, you know how it is. Like 12-year-olds appeal to it, Like, that makes me really wonder.
Firstly, I'm 26 years old. I'm almost 27.
I knew you'd say that!
In a month. And definitely not a groomer, for the record. Not even a stylist. And for someone like you...
That was a little... Okay, that was a little funny. I know. Credit where credit is due. That was a little bit funny.
To allege that toward me, considering you have sexual assault allegations against you...
Whoa! Speaking of defamatory, sexual assault allegations, can you find some? Could I get a source on that, sir? Oh, that's... Whew! Man, all I said was, when I see behavior like this, it makes me wonder if he might be a groomer. You just straight out said that there are sexual assault allegations against me. Ooh, man, I'm gonna... Whew, I'll be speaking to my legal counsel over this one, let me tell you. Be careful there, buddy.
And ones that you admit to, that's pretty fucking rich, bros.
I admit to it. Where? Where did that happen? He threw up a tweet at one point where I said that I harassed a person 3 years ago. Is that assault? Damn, dude. Are you hitting me with a false rape allegation right now? I didn't know Isaac Butterfield was such a feminist. That's such a SJW thing of you to do, Isaac Butterfield.
Stop throwing stones in glass houses, you little fucking pussy. Now, angry, cranky feminists, let's fucking do it!
In 1998, Hollywood invented...
Oh, for fuck's sake!
Wait. That person is like 12.
Now, Bosch carried on with this kid shit again and again in the video. And
No, you carried on with the kid shit, motherfucker. You literally found just 3 random TikToks of little girls. That was you. I didn't care. I just picked a video of yours to watch. I was sitting there. I was hapless. I was helpless. I just sat there. I watched. What do you mean?
And it is absolutely unfound. It's very strange that someone would go out knowingly defaming someone, especially someone like me who could fuck them royally in the legal system. Anyway.
What? Okay, this is my favorite genre. As somebody who has an amateur's interest in law, this is my favorite type of internet keyboard warrior. Is the type of person who gets really fucking triggered and then assumes because they're upset, they have a legal case. your accusation of sexual assault allegations is more defamatory than anything I did in my video, and I wouldn't have a case against you, at least in the American court system. I know it's easier to sue for defamation in England. Maybe the case is the same in Australia, but I live in America. So, yeah, and YouTube tends to use American law when it comes to facilitating whether or not, like, channel strikes should be levied. So, I don't know. I mean, it's just a weird place to take it. Why can't you just just admit you're upset?
Whatever. I don't give a fuck. It's
Oh, okay. He doesn't care. Okay, it's cool. He doesn't care.
Tit and tat. Who gives a fuck, right? But no wonder this video was taken down and someone had to re-upload it because he knows he's fucked himself. And someone's probably said, "Hey, bro."
Wait, I didn't take it down. I just didn't post it. What do you mean? It's still on my desktop. It's right here, Isaac. I just never posted it because you're a loser. Like everything. The TikTok, it's right here. I just didn't post it. Are you making another lie about me, my dude? That's pretty defamatory. Hold on. If we go to my channel, playlists, stream VODs. Here we go. True. That is true. That's true. Then we go down here and we scroll down a little while. Let's see. Let's find Josephine Matthews. It's one of these. Talking with TJ Kirk. Was it before that? Ben Shapiro. YMS. Well, it's somewhere here. I do a lot of streams. My Fear's Ultimate Practice stream. Not that I ever title my fucking videos. Yeah, it's somewhere in here. Godspeed, you can find it. I don't take shit down.
Probably shouldn't go out calling Australia's biggest YouTuber. Well, I'm not, but height-wise. A fucking culprit. Jesus Christ, cunt. And as far as the age thing with these people in the TikToks, I can make fun of anyone. Of any age. Especially when they put their shit out in the public domain.
No, that's not actually how... Well, hold on. I didn't say you can't. At no point did I say you can't. But it is creepy. It would also be creepy if I went out, if I was like, let's do some content, and I found like 12-year-olds on TikTok, and I made like weird derogatory comments, called them cunts, and made like sexual references, which I remember him doing. I think there was one particular person where he accused the little girl of like, it was something like, he brought up sex impromptu. I don't think about this guy that much, but there was definitely something along those lines. I think it's weird. I do think it's weird, Isaac. I get that you have an audience of young people, and you want to appeal to those young people by dunking on other young people, but it does come off a little weird when you're so aggressively, I don't know, strange about it. Again, I don't know. I'm not saying it's illegal or anything, just...
As for the 12-year-old, she's fucking 23, dickhead. It says it in her fucking bio.
Really? Well, that person looked really young. Were all the people you talked about super young? Because there were multiple people in that video. I'm pretty sure not all of them were. I'm glad this person is older, but still. Was that person really 23? No, he's got me on that one. Yeah, sure, but I hold to my points.
Also says gender pronouns, so you can tell right away she's a fucking idiot.
Nice!
Do a bit of research, you fucking pussy vosh. Huh?
This is actually Wait, how am I what has happened so far that he's calling me a pussy for?
Vosh. Huh?
This is actually I don't get it. What am I doing? Almost so much worse than I expected. There's so many things wrong with this. It's actually extraordinary. So first of all, this guy, this groomer, I'm fair saying it, yeah. This guy probably like fucks kids. Allegedly. Allegedly. Of course, allegedly. Is like trolling through 14-year-old TikToks.
So you can say whatever you want about me, all right? I don't really give a fuck at all. But to go out there and call...
Well, you clearly do. Oh, here we go. Here's the VOD. Somebody found it for me. Here we go. Yeah. It's unlisted, but it's in the Stream VODs playlist, so it's accessible to everyone. 30,000 people have seen it. It's not exactly hidden. Yeah, it was right at the end. Yeah, here you go. See?
Someone the worst thing in the world, a pedophile or a child groomer, is fucking outrageous, cunt.
Whoa, 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 whoa. There are maybe worse things. You could be like a fascist child groomer. I mean, you can stack, you can pile on, you know? Not be too hyperbolic here.
Are you serious? Like, you sit there behind your little screen with your hand in your little bag of chips and your other hand on your fucking mate's balls, and you start carrying.
This is the third time I think the fourth time he's made a weird comment about, like, being gay. This is like an unironic homophobe. It's a little blasé at this point to be, like, actually just homophobic. Why do you keep making comments about my sexuality? It's really, really strange.
Carrying on with this shit, it's fucking unfound. That's what it is. It is profoundly rude.
I looked at his Twitter, he's homophobic. Well, yeah, it's not a big surprise. I'm just surprised he's that open about it.
And unjust. Absolutely zero evidence. He's saying this because I made fun of someone who appeared to be a child but actually was 23.
Wait, there were multiple children in that. Were all of them like 23? Or are you just focusing on that one because that's the one who was actually overage?
And because I yell at a camera. Yes, I know. I yell at a camera. This is not how
True.
I talk in real life. It's artistic effect. Ooh, yes. They have an ulterior motive. They're trying to have sex with women. And they don't have the ability to do...
I hear this one a lot, like the all-male feminists just want to have sex with women. And let me tell you guys something, okay? God, my audio quality now is so much better than it was back then. I'm so glad I adjusted those settings. It works. I was slaying pussy like crazy in college. What is the relationship between those? I don't know what the relationship is. I was in college 8 years ago. I'm 26. Yeah, he probably thinks the harassment was IRL and not what it actually was, which was a Discord server, where I was like creepy to one person who I was friends with.
And that's only 10 minutes into the video, but let me just say this. Fuck this cunt to the moon. Fuck you to the moon, Vosh. I have no more time for you. But
4 minutes left in the video.
what I will say is the worst thing that he did, forget all that shit he just said about me. That doesn't matter, all right?
Why do you keep saying that? It clearly matters to you. This is toxic masculinity. Isaac Butterfield, you need to be honest with your feelings, okay? You need to be forthcoming with your pain. It's not enough. You can't keep bottling it up inside.
Someone trying to start a war with me to get more attention. Good on you, champ. And it helped me make some content. Sweet. Thanks.
What do you mean start a war with you to get more attention? I did the stream segment and then didn't post the video because you're boring. That's like the least attention grabbing possible. I was thinking maybe I could release the video of you, like on a rainy day or something. Like maybe I've been slacking and I don't have enough content to release, so I would like throw your video out. Because it's just kind of like a generic, like, you're dumb sort of thing to go over. But, all right.
Thanks. But the worst thing he did was something that he did to one of my friends.
Oh.
And what Vosh did here...
I know this! Oh, shit, he's doing it! He's friends with that fascist, isn't he?
It was absolutely fucking horrible. And this just goes to show what a huge piece of shit this soy boy is. There's a friend of mine called Sydney Watson. She's an Australian YouTuber.
Also, if I'm a soy boy, this guy's a soy boy too, okay?
She's a great person who I thoroughly enjoyed.
Sydney Watson! This person is a fascist! They are an Islamophobe. They're full-on, like, basically Lauren Southern tier. Yeah, Sydney Watson. I mean, we can... I looked through this shit a little while ago. Oh, not as many followers as I thought. People don't get periods, women do. So we got the transphobia shit. I know this person does a lot of Islamophobic shit.
These videos.
Trans people, transracialism. Fuck, I know I saw Too Many White People, the rise of self-segregation and anti-white racism. Blame him, not men, toxic masculinity. This person, they do kind of like the West is falling thing kind of gist, you know what I mean? We don't need to go like fully into it. You can take a look at it. But yeah, she does basically like the West is falling, the tolerance towards trans people and LGBT people and immigrants is destroying the white. Well, she doesn't say the white race. She says like Western. You know what I mean? It's the same basic gist.
Talking to, and she opened up on a YouTube channel.
She literally has a video on the Jews, does she? Nice meme. That's a perma. I don't care. Fuck you.
About a sexual assault that happened to her. Now, Vosh watched this. He watched it in its entirety. And in that 2-minute clip that recently went viral, he reacted to it in a way that you would expect from someone like him. The young women was...
I know this. I can preempt this a little bit, okay? I even made a video on this just like a week ago, I think. Was that a week ago? Hold on. Time has no meaning during quarantine. Somebody linked you the screenshots on Twitter? Screenshots of what? You'd have to post them in chat. I get so many notifications. Anyway, let me see. Where? This one right here. Is Vosh a rape apologist exposed? So basically the gist was, there was a Jubilee video. Jubilee does these like, let's talk about the issues kind of thing, where you bring in left and right leaning people. And let's talk about Me Too. Has Me Too gone too far, you know? And people were sharing their experiences with sexual assault. It was mostly women there. And one of the people, Sydney Watson, talked about her being raped. And at first, it was just her talking about being raped, which, I mean, a lot of women get raped, so yeah, that sucks. But then she started talking about how it was a person of a certain religion and how the police said they wouldn't, like, go after it because of differences in culture. So, just to be perfectly clear, this Jubilee section was just about sexual assault. There was nothing else. There was nothing about race or immigration or religion. So for a person to say, and I literally think it was like, she was like, I got raped, but because it was a person of a certain religion, the cops said they wouldn't go after him because of cultural differences. And then I said bullshit on that. And then I said, you know, bullshit, because they were trying to like drive a political narrative from their experience. It's not at all surprising to me, the idea that Sydney Watson might have been raped, and it's not at all surprising to me, the idea that she might have been raped by a Muslim person, and it's not at all surprising to me that Sydney Watson might have been raped by a Muslim person, and then the police didn't follow up on it. But there is no way in hell the police looked at her, a white woman, and said, we won't follow up on this because of cultural differences.
Sitting around talking about sexual assault. And Vosh was like, that's it. This is rape culture. This is exactly what I'm talking about. It's everywhere. And then as soon as Sydney talks about her experience and that it wasn't done by a white man, Vosh explodes. His ideology.
This is what the fascists, and I do think this guy's a fascist. I mean, he openly admits, like, he's friends with a fascist, and all of his rhetoric lines up with fascist. The narrative that they're driving is that I doubt that a white woman would be raped by a brown person. That's like the narrative they're trying to push, racializing it, even though in the video that I released publicly months ago, that original video was from months ago, I said that the reason why I doubted her story was because she was deliberately politicizing her experiences in a way that was both highly unlikely and highly irrelevant to the discussion. For example, I would have cocked an eye, and this is the example that I used. I would have cocked an eye too if there was like a SJW type at the Jubilee meeting with like purple hair or whatever, and she was like, "Yeah, I got raped, and it was by a white man." And then when I tried to report it to the police, they were like, "No, we don't persecute white men. We won't follow through because of they're a white man." Even though that's actually statistically far more likely than the idea of police not persecuting a fucking Muslim person. Because it's an unnecessary and sort of ridiculous politicization of what is otherwise supposed to be just a discussion on rape culture. Yeah, prosecute, not persecute, sorry. It's just a strange thing to say, you know? But if Sydney Watson got sexually assaulted or raped, which she probably did just by way of being a woman, then yeah, all sympathies to that.
Psychology of believe all women changed when Sydney mentioned it wasn't a white man.
Because the perpetrator wasn't white, and because he...
Oh, you can actually hear her language here. Listen to this.
Wasn't a white man.
Because the perpetrator wasn't white, and because he was like, you know, part of like a certain religion.
Wait, are we being real?
And when the police were basically just...
Keep in mind, at this point, nobody had mentioned anything about race, religion, like none of that. It was completely impromptu.
Like, we can't because
Oh yeah, credit to iHypocrite, one of my fans down here, for clipping this.
of cultural differences, which I don't feel like is such a good...
What? Bullshit!
But I'm not the person to react to this.
Yeah, and the video that I did, the original one, like completely explained why I made that call. But yeah, they're trying to paint it as some sort of like race thing because it fits perfectly in like the fascist narrative, you know? I'm the libcuck leftist who's very against rape culture, but is okay with white women being raped by the savage hordes of brown immigrants being sent into the Western world. It fits in perfectly with their narrative, you know? If I were to criticize myself, it wouldn't be that I was mean to Sydney Watson, because I never doubted that she was raped. But it would be that I probably could have conveyed my message in a way that more accurately and immediately made it understandable that I was criticizing the unnecessary politicization of her behavior rather than just that she was raped in general. But yeah, go off.
Sydney is. Let's give her the voice. Let's allow her to respond to this fucking cock smoker.
Do you think that Isaac Butterfield would typically defer to the words of a woman during a rape allegation situation? Do you think that's something he would generally do? Like if it was Christine Ford or something like that, he would be like, now let's go to her, you know? I doubt it somehow, but...
All right? Sydney, take it away.
Thank you, Isaac. So I'm
Oh shit, they did a collab! What's up, Sydney? Hey, quit being weird about Muslims.
going to keep this brief. When I was 20, I was sexually assaulted and it sucked. The perpetrator happened to be not white. He happened to be part of a specific religious group.
Just say... When she says that, it reminds me of when Nazis say a specific tribe. Nazis say that all the time. They don't say Jews. They say, well, they're part of a certain tribe, you know? Was it Oh, wait. Were you assaulted by a Jewish person? Wait, hold on. The narratives are switching. Nah, but just say, why not?
And there were police reports, there are police reports, there were witnesses, and so on and so forth that corroborate my story.
Okay.
Of all the
I didn't doubt that you were assaulted, so...
things. Why would I make this up? Despite
I didn't
all of that,
accuse you.
and even with investigation happening, I was told that this would be dismissed as cultural differences, and the police basically threw up their hands. I'm not the first woman who's been...
I would be very surprised if that was actually the exchange that took place. I cannot fathom the police making that claim. I do sincerely doubt that. And hey, listen, I'll add a caveat here. I can't believe I'm saying this directly to a person who was assaulted, but I mean, I gotta stay true to my principles. If that is something that happened, that's heinous. Everyone should be equal under the eyes of the law. That's it. You know?
Been told that, and I certainly won't be the last, because we currently live in a society that would rather appear tolerant than pursue justice.
Yeah, see, this is the fascist narrative, the belief that police are actually like super easy on Muslim people. That's what's happening, right? Police are just they go very easy on Muslim people, you know? It's not really backed up by anything, but it's a very common, I think there was like one narrative, and it came out of England, about how like the police said they didn't want to keep track of a certain piece of data because it made like certain groups of people look bad or something like that, or they would stop recording race with regards to criminality or something. But I looked up the sentencing rates and the criminality of Muslim immigrants in Australia, and it does not favor the narrative that they're treated super, super nicely. But this fits the West is falling kind of narrative, you know?
It's why the Rotherham rape gangs, for example, went on for so long in the United Kingdom, because police officers were too scared to appear racist.
I think this might literally be the thing that I just mentioned. Why did British police ignore... Hold on. Why did British police ignore Pakistani rape gangs? Let's get that article. Yep, this is it. This is the one more than 5 years old. This is the one... Oh, this isn't data. This is literally an op-ed from one person. This is, like, that's it. This isn't data. This isn't like a federal investigative report. This isn't like an analysis or a study or anything like that. This is literally an op-ed from one Mr. Roger Scruton? Scruton? Scrutone? Now, I've actually looked into this, and then you, of course, with equal credibility, you can then look into the best gas grills for superior backyard barbecues. I actually looked into this, and I do believe that the British police acted poorly with regards to this, this particular issue. But the idea that this reaffirms a broad civilization, like West-wide narrative about police letting Muslim crime slip under the bar is fucking ridiculous. One op-ed from another country on the other side of the planet from 5 years ago, honestly.
By arresting and going after the perpetrators. So on a personal level, my story is not far-fetched. It's not unbelievable, and if anything, it's becoming more and more and more common.
Whoa! Throw in those headlines where you clip out the website where they come from. Let me take a look.
It's not unbelievable, and if anything, it's becoming...
German judge says Turkish man's forced violent sex is culturally not rape. That's interesting. The first thing that comes up is a Reddit link that is deleted. Okay. From PJ Media. Here we go. What is PJ Media like? Defend conservative journalism. Interesting. The extreme far right. All right. According to the German daily newspaper, forgive the weak translation from Google Translate. They didn't have an actual correspondent to translate. They just used Google Translate. The judge told the woman, I believe Mrs. G's every word, but her tormentor probably did not know what he was doing to her. He asked her to go to bed with her, but she refused. She said that he was not her type. Why does Germany condone mass rape? Yeah, I can't. I need more information than a Google translated debunk is here. Ah, look at that. Did a German judge acquit a man of rape because he is Turkish? No. The official press release makes it clear the Turkish origin of the accused was not relevant to the decision. The source for this claim is generally this, and this is the same article that they Google translated here. It claims that the victim mentioned the Turkish origin of the accused, but it makes no claim regarding the judge, the important part of the article. The important question for the result of the trial was given to the victim. Could it be that the accused thought that you consented? The victim said this could be. She could not evaluate whether the accused, with the mentality of the Turkish culture, mistook the event which she perceived as rape for rough sex. Another article by Vice quotes a press secretary. The victim did not say no clearly enough. The victim herself has said so. According to the press secretary, it should also be considered that drugs were taken and that the initial rejection of the victim could have changed so that the accused might have incorrectly assumed consent. This shit happens to white people from white people all the fucking time. This isn't because he's Turkish or Muslim. This shit happens between whites all the time. It's still rape? Yeah, it's still rape. That's what I would tell anyone in any court system. But that's because of rape culture, not because people are nice to Turkish people. Keep in mind, I'm not making the argument that there are no incidences where Muslim people rape and then get away with it. That absolutely happens. But it's not because they're Muslim. It's because our court system is a fucking nightmare to navigate if you are a rape victim. So that's nice. A mistranslation of an article which incorrectly cited some positions and misattributed some beliefs to the judge. That's good. That's our first one. Let's go to the second one. From a far-right newspaper, mind you.
Becoming more and more.
France, Muslim migrant acquitted of rape of high school girl because he has different cultural norms. By the way, even if every single fucking thing she said was correct, even if every single thing that she's saying here was true, a couple of anecdotal experiences across the entirety of the planet over the course of 6 years does not exactly prove a trend. But we can go for it. France, Muslim migrant. Acquitted of rape of... Is it? No. Different cultural norms. This? Is this it? It doesn't have the same title. Ah, here we go. From a Reddit link from The Right Pill. Here we go. From jihadwatch.com. Everyone's favorite impartial analysis of the criminality of Muslim people. Jihadwatch.com. SPLC. Jihad Watch. Isn't this listed as a hate site? There we go. 2019 anti-Muslim hate groups, including the site Jihad Watch. There we go. Now, I know the method. I know it. The SPLC is a cucked organization that wants all white women to be raped by brown people, and that's why they declare the truth tellers to be hate groups, because they're trying to bury the truth. I know the narrative. But if this was true, I could probably find it on a place that isn't a site that is literally designated as a hate group. So, yeah, we can maybe find something a little better. This is where it was clipped from, by the way. This wasn't just me choosing the worst site to, like, frame this story from. This is where she got it from. Look at the type of text. It's the same website. She went to this site to find it. If there were real sites covering this, why wouldn't you go to a actual website covering it and not a hate site?
More and more common.
Australia, Muslim avoids... It's the same font. So I know exactly what we're about to get. Jihadwatch.com from Robert Spencer. Spencer is one of the most prolific anti-Muslim figures in the United States. An incessant blogger, author, and activist, he insists, despite his lack of academic training in Islam, that the religion is inherently violent and that extremists who commit acts of terror are simply following its most authentic version. He was cited dozens of times in the manifesto of Anders Breivik. Interesting. He's been banned from the United Kingdom. I know. Impartial journalism. I'm just ignoring all the evidence, all this anecdotal evidence from multiple countries in multiple years that's only being covered by hate groups. Yeah, he wrote this op-ed. Damn, Robert Spencer. Them cultural differences, huh?
Vosh, or whatever his name is
You also got the name pronunciation right. So yeah, let me just, I'll put an end to this if I may. I have no doubt that this woman experienced a sexual assault of some kind. Again, that happens a lot. And it is entirely possible that it was done by a person of, I don't know, a Muslim person or a non-white person. And it is entirely possible that justice was not, found with regards to this case. However, the far right belief that our Western civilization is persistently, in the name of political correctness, ignoring the crimes of Muslim people and allowing all the white women to be raped because they would rather allow that than pursue justice against these communities is patently untrue. It is unfounded. And the fact that you had to pull 4 different anecdotal articles from 4 different parts of the world, which were all in some way or another connected to hate groups, it speaks to the legitimacy of your claims. That's it. Don't fucking politicize. This is literally what they criticize lefties of doing all the time, of criticizing their personal tragedies. It's perfect. That's like such a perfect, God, the hypocrisy is insane. That is exactly what they do. They'll say like, oh, sorry about your rape, but like this doesn't prove rape culture. But like this woman's rape proves a civilizational decline, Get off it.
clearly a tool, and we can all see that. But the problem with his...
Oh, and if you want to talk about it on stream, you can talk about it on stream. I'll happily discuss not whether or not you were raped, because that's your business, and I have no right to intrude on that, but whether or not this speaks to a broader civilizational narrative of Muslim people being, sort of sheltered by the legal system in our respective Western countries.
Perspectives and viewpoints is that they're representative of a whole group of people who pick and choose who they believe based on the color of your skin or your political leaning.
Well, didn't say I didn't believe your assault. But here's the funny thing, and I know I'm talking a lot about this, but this is why I don't believe this woman's narrative. Because right now, she's playing a game. She's accusing me of not believing she was raped, but the articles she threw up weren't about whether or not women get raped, or even whether or not they get raped by Muslims, but whether or not the legal system excuses Muslim rapes. Even now, she is conflating a belief in her assault and a belief in a civilizational narrative, and she's doing it deliberately. Because this woman is a fascist, and she is manipulating her audience and everyone who is listening into buying into an Islamophobic conspiracy theory by way of feeling bad for her personally. And I reject your nonsense conspiracism, Sydney Watson, because just because you suffered doesn't mean you should get to inflict that on an entire group of people.
They are, for lack of a better term, a bunch of hypocrites.
Damn.
I personally can weather someone calling me a liar because this is the environment that I work in, and I get a lot of hate on a regular basis.
What is with this camera framing? Why are the zoom-ins on her throat instead of her face? Irrelevant, but...
But my heart really goes out to the men and women who've been through something similar to me, who might have watched his video and felt like a fat leftist was stomping all over the believability of their story. Clowns like our fat...
Well, it depends on the story. If your story was, I was raped and the police didn't take it seriously, then that's a fine story. Pretty common one. If your story is the police didn't take it seriously because our civilization prioritizes political correctness over justice with regards to Muslim immigrants, well, I don't know.
Liberal friend talk about rape culture and believing women until it's inconvenient to their narrative. If nothing else, it's intellectually inconsistent, and in my case, it's really, really insulting. At the end of the day,
I don't really care. Fuck you. You know exactly what you're doing. That's why you're conflating your assault and a civilizational conspiracy theory. You know exactly what you're doing. This is not some sincere, heartfelt cry for harm on your part. You know what you're doing. You're smarter than that. So, yeah.
Guys, I really don't think that we should put too much stock in the opinions of someone who he himself admits to abusing women. But if we did...
Why do they keep... I will... I'm not going to sue any of you. Why? Stop! Jesus! Jesus Christ, you're weird to a girl for a little while on Discord 3 years ago, and everyone just calls you a rapist.
Let's remember, Vosh don't come for me simply because there's not enough alcohol in the world to make someone want to sleep with you. Back to you, Isaac.
Wait. Was she implying I wanted to fuck her? Is that... That was a really weird end. Wait, do you think I made the Jubilee video months ago? And then, like, made the video on Isaac, and all of it was part of, like, a strategy to... I don't know. You think she's hoping a little bit? I don't know, that was really strange. Yeah, why did she say back to you, Isaac, and then the video just ended? Did he forget to record an outro? That was very strange. Whew. Oh, that was a weird one. I didn't expect the surprise twist at the end where Sydney would show up. But you know, I stand by my principles on this one. And she's gonna sexually assault me, Monkus. I stand by my principles on this one. She's doing exactly what conservative people accuse left-leaning people of doing, which is cynically weaponizing their hurt as a way of making broad and untrue political prescriptions. Upload the original? Well, the original is kind of irrelevant at this point. Yeah, hopefully that's the last time we have to go over either of these people. I think what we can all agree on at the end of this, what, do you think I'm not going to upload this one? Are you kidding me? The thing that we can take away from all of this, and I think we can all agree on this, okay? Is that Australianism is a disease. We all agree? Wait, I'm sorry. There is no better way to close this out. You're kidding me. Really, Sydney? I'm gonna keep saying this. Weaponizing sexual assault allegations was always a bad idea. Believe women was always disingenuous and a bad idea. The Me Too movement has always been a partisan political weapon. We warned you. Sydney! Sydney, you can't... How hypocritical can you be? You can't impugn me for this, Sydney. I accused you of doing what you said everyone was doing with Me Too. Come on. Yeah, where's the Curb Your Enthusiasm theme when you need it? Jesus Christ. My God. Super important. Look at this. Tiso, you're getting permit if it's Rickroll.
At this point, it feels
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah, I remember this. This bitch defended the Christchurch shooting. Well, not really defended it. More like, well, this is gonna happen as long as we have Muslims here. Yeah, she's a full-on fascist. I mean, I kept saying that, but people don't believe me. Like, when I say a person is a fascist, I'm not just saying they're like an asshole. I'm saying that they're a fascist. I'm trying to be, you know, precise with my language here. Probably a white nationalist. Look at that like to dislike ratio. Yep, because people love it. Those who make peaceful revolution impossible will make violent revolution inevitable. Yes, we have no choice. The Muslim people are here. We have no choice. But they're literally advocating terrorist uprising. That's the top comment, apart from the one that's pinned. When you take away a man's voice, you remove all restraints. Many options are at his disposal, and none of them are pretty. Over 50 people died in a terrorist attack, and these people are saying, like, yeah, this is what happens when you push us. Invaders come not by force, but with Trojan horse. Comparing it to the Nazi occupation of Poland. So yeah, I would reserve my sympathy if I were you guys. There really is no language to describe just how bad these people are. Oh, and we can finish it. We can finish it with this, I guess. Netflix has dropped an Australian comedian who made jokes about the Holocaust and insulted a Jewish audience member who later complained in an email. Last month, he asked his audience to imagine the joy of people when they heard the Jews were sent to the gas chambers. A Jewish woman said the joke was not remotely funny over an email, and he responded, if you can't stand the heat, get out of the oven.
Toss a coin to
Truly
your
the
streamer
cutting edge of
of you
13-year-old
as
dead baby
plenty.
jokes. Then he claims the mainstream media has an all-out assault on him, and he defended his right to free speech. Yeah, blah, 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 blah. You know, the standard, really. 1.4 million subs, by the way. It's actually pretty impressive, you know? You really do think, that guy's larger than Sargon of Akkad, but he is... He's pretty bad. And he's Australian. So nobody even pays attention to him, you know? Nobody even pays attention because he's Australian, because we think like, oh, an Australian person. Okay, sure, fine. It's like a cloud person. Oh, sure. Somebody from Atlanta, from the Sea World has dumb opinions, you know? Great, cool, fantastic. I do worry about these people, you know? I do worry. But you know what? I'm gonna end this very, very simply. To Sydney Watson and to Isaac Butterfield, you are both preposterously unintelligent people, and video responses back and forth would be a waste of my time. I sincerely believe that. Not because you're smaller than me, both your channels are larger than me, but because I do feel like I'm punching down when I do your videos. So if you want to talk, you can just debate me. Just come on the channel. If not, I'll just be ignoring you from this point forward. As reprehensible as your content is, I think anyone who's already watching you and thinks that content is acceptable is probably too stupid to understand the arguments that I make anyway. You can make your way on. I love taking people on my stream. It's great, okay? I have a lot of fun. All right, we're back. We did it. Oh, Namason, that's just a subject for another day. We have so many donations to go over. You know, I do want to say, by the way, I derive absolutely, holy shit, 6,500 people. This is the largest number of people I've had watching me concurrently during a politics stream that wasn't some crazy specific thing. What's up? Ah, yes. And to celebrate, come here, dipshit. I heard a rumor. Yeah? Damp from spit? Yeah, have you been licking? Have you been licking yourself? Why are you doing that? Baby. Baby. We vibrate him to excise the bubbles. Mm-hmm. Alright. Oh my god, you're so furry. I just fucking rubbed you and fur went everywhere. You're so furry. It's summer, you're shedding your coat. Yeah? Look at the camera. Look at, why are you so difficult? Beans. He's softly purring, but I don't know if it'd pick up in the microphone. All right. Be gone. Be well. Go back to sleep. Go. Go. You have to go. Go. You have to go. This way. Go this way. I have to do donuts. He'll distract me. He'll find a place to sleep. Stay mad. All right, I'm back. Hello. Okay. You know, there was some other stuff that I wanted to talk about, like, for example, the... You can entertain him. Fine, let him in. Fine, let him in. All right, be good. No, he's walking right back out. See? He just wants to be annoying. Rejected. We have to do donos. You know, oh, here, I'll do an open invitation. There is so much stuff that I wanted to talk about. I want to talk about the Me Too allegations that are running through the Destiny community, by which I mean the video game Destiny, not the streamer Destiny, with whom I have an ongoing relationship. I wanted to talk about the Trump shit, and fuck me, there's so much to go on about. However, goddamn Geronimo, Jesus Christ. However, with that being said, I will open us up. If there are any Isaac Butterfield fans, if there are any Butterbrains in the YouTube chat, you are free to come on the Discord and we can have a talk. Okay? There you go. That's my open, and then we're doing donos, and we are doing them fast, okay? Even the big ones. Fuck you guys. J-Reg's friend, Mythaldu, and Mr. Richard Desici, thank you very much for the tier 1 subs. Like you, Morganson and Wertham, thank you. Gayfesh, the tier 2 sub, thank you. Yeah, 4 million views on the stream. Fuck yeah, absolutely. Beating that Trump rally. Relayer with the tier 2 sub, thank you so goddamn much. I'm really glad my community was able to help you. Shifty Otter with the tier 2 sub, really appreciate it. Thank you so much. Flemmy with the $15. How do we motivate people to do jobs like cleaning toilets in post-capitalism? You do it in your house every day, do you not? If you work in a place, you spend time in the place that you work, you want to keep the toilets clean. Like, that's just that. People will take care of their own environments as long as they don't believe it's somebody else's job to do so. That's true, Nerd Germ. Thank you for the $5. Comrade Yamada with the $2. Thank you very, very much, comrade. I really appreciate that. I will continue to try to be a socialist. I'll do my best. Mike B with the tier 4 sub. Thank you. Minecraft server win? Nope, only unofficial ones. I'm not managing that shit. You should debate on who is a better kisser. You'll need to provide examples, though, or I win. Yeah. Nice try. Nice fucking try. It's the tier 2 sub prank, at least. Windowby Dazzler, thank you so much for the tier 3 sub. And Vosh, check this. Police sighting with Fash at a protest on Saturday. I think I saw this. Yeah. Police do this shit all the fucking time. I might do like a big collective on that at some point. Gets pretty wonky. Fickle Paper Cat, thank you so much for the tier 2 sub. The Lax agreed. Enoch is a beta. Daniel Schmidt, yeah, I agree. Listen, there are only a few good leftists, and I'm all of them, all right? Jackie Patel, thank you so much for the $10 pizza for all mods. I'll keep it in mind. Maybe we can have a chat on the Discord. Mia Lou with the $10. Thank you. I'm eating a sandwich. Hope you're well. I am well. Thank you. I do wish I was eating a sandwich right now. Dude, you have no idea. Please show this clip. Straight away, I'm afraid I cannot show this clip at this particular moment, but I am familiar with the clip that you were referring to. It is pretty fucking wild. Markinator with the $5. This person talks shit about ContraPoints and BreadTube. This is Essence of Thought. Yeah, I don't like Essence of Thought. I think Essence of Thought is a kind of a cringe lord. Sandy Blue with the $10. Thank you very, very much. Yeah, science communicator. True, and I'm proud of that job. It's regression analysis, not regressive analysis. Love you though, Vosh. Hey, when I got out of school, I stopped remembering everything. Thank you very much, comrade. Mythaldu and McKinley, thank you both very much for the tier 1 and tier 2 subs, respectively. Zephyr, sorry about the Trump ad before. Markinator, why do people still say you're pro-CP? I mean, as we just evidenced by that Isaac Butterfield video, evidence has nothing to do with the claims people make against me, so I wouldn't be too surprised, you know? Didgeridoo Man, I appreciate the offer, but no thank you. I like keeping as small an outfit as possible, though maybe you could reach out to Rose Wrist. Have I seen a genetically modified skeptic on YouTube? I've not heard of them, no, Flopmind. You should put a video of theirs in the content suggestions. So noted, vote for legal weed. I'll be talking about that more soon. Dionysus with a very generous $10. How do you convince conservatives who don't believe in scientific consensus? You can't, their brains are broken. If you're an anti-intellectual, if you genuinely don't believe in data or like data collection, their brains are broken. You can't fix them. You just need to like bully them. You can't ration a person out of a belief they didn't ration their way into, you know? True, Buck Soup. Yeah, Bok Soup, 100%. Irish people were racist as fuck against black people because it earned their whiteness. Infodash, thank you very, 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 very much. I'm glad you liked the video on the hosts of Rising. I'll be doing quite a bit more on that soon. Yes, K-pop trended White Lives Matter. I saw that. Inky H, thank you so much for the 549 euros. Diabolic Down Under with the 10 Australian. Please don't bother debating Fuentes. He's a fringe wacko no one outside poll takes seriously. Now that he's off YouTube, his reach is severely limited. But again, if he wants to come on and debate a specific issue, I'm more than happy to. But he literally never will. Fuentes' rhetorical talent is in like veneer of blood sports. He has a couple of quips. He'll talk over people. That's about it, you know? But when it comes to actually discussing the data, he is fucked because the data does not support his claims. Polynova with the incredibly kind tier 3 sub. Thank you. And Geronimo Rotor with the incredibly kind $50. You are about to blow me the fuck out in donations, my dude. I sense a disturbing lack of donations. No, actually, there were quite a few before you donated, but you're definitely going to be taking the cake. Geronimo Rotor donated $100 2 times in a row. Thank you so fucking much for the lizard cam, please. And Vosh is missing all my donos. Yeah, well, I was using the restroom at the time, to be fair. Thank you so fucking much, my dude. That is so goddamn kind of you. I genuinely don't even know what to say, but I promise you, we will get a lizard cam up and running at some point in the near future. Thank you so much. Yes, Eric, the people do demand lizard cam. Matt Volby with the $5. Wow, chat. True. Thomas Duponte with the unbelievable $75. Thank you so much, my dude. Okay, big donation gang, let's go. And you did it. You did go. The going and gotten. You did it. Nicely done. I'm proud of you, and you know, I benefited tremendously from your generosity. Thank you so much. I really appreciate that. Jesus. Kafefade with the $5. Racial discourse. It's always black people versus white people. It's quite disheartening that Asians are left out entirely. Do people even care about us? They don't come up that much because Asian people in America aren't doing that poorly, so they tend not to fit into a broader narrative of racial oppression. But it is something worth talking about. People just don't discriminate against Asian people in America the same way they do against black and brown people. That's not to say they don't get discriminated against. It's just not the same. It's not in the same way. Jesus. Geronimo Rotor with the $100. Geronimo strikes again. That you do, motherfucker. And likewise with the additional also $100. People call me a Vosh simp. I wear that title with pride. You are at least, certainly for today, my Soros. So you're not just my simp, I think. You're more of a, what would be, a pimp, a payer idolizing, mediocre, penis. You're my pimp. True. Sadashan, this is a call-out dono.
Indeed.
And proof. Oh, I saw this. Hold on. I'm sorry. I'm really not trying to bully Caleb Maupin or anything like that, but I saw this and it was very funny.
Well, let me add one thing, which is I've noticed this, and I don't want to say this in a way that we should be upset about this. We should be happy about this in a way. But if you'll notice, like the person who set up the debate between me and Destiny is this guy named Faraday Speaks. He's Caleb something. He's also named Caleb, same name as me. But he was featured in the New York Times. He was an ex-alt-rightist who has now left-wing or something like that. He's the one who set up the debate between me and Destiny. He was featured in the New York Times. There's also ContraPoints, which is a YouTube channel that I actually have learned a lot from. You know, I don't agree with everything on it, but I've learned a lot from ContraPoints, who calls herself kind of a socialist, and she talks about internet memes and the alt-right and stuff like that. And now we have Bosch, and it seems like there is some funding, and that there is some entity that is kind of strategically highlighting these kind of voices as an effort to beat back the alt-right. That's probably a good thing, right? I mean, not probably.
I mean, if he believes it's a good thing, I mean, okay, I'm not. If he's speaking positively of it, then I mean, all right, you know. It's true, the cabal. Yeah, it's funny because Caleb literally gets paid by Russia, but, you know. Len, I did, but thank you. Miss Sloth with the incredibly kind $50. I arrived late, I just want to say fuck existence. Duly noted, and very much the case, Miss Sloth. Thank you so much for the $50. I really appreciate it. Marcus Saran with 25 kronar. Did Twitch ban you for anti-Semitism? Probably, basically, yeah. Or what they perceive to be anti-Semitism. Phoenix Fire with $20. How can you support improving society somewhat when you participate in society? That's my secret. I don't. I'm a computer program. I am a hologram written by a person who lives in the woods and does not participate in society. I have the trappings of a socialite, but I am in fact a facade being manifested by a person who has indeed escaped society. Thank you, weekly winner. Did I lose my first debate with Sargon? Yeah, optically, for sure. In terms of the actual arguments made, Sargon lost both debates handily, but in terms of optics, I would say I did pretty poorly in my first one. Geronimo is funded by Soros. Geronimo is Soros, Larson. Wife is calling AFK. I heard more money. Guys, thank you so much for the $10. Jesus. One Firefly, thank you so much for the tier 1 sub. Glad you like it. We're off very true, comrade Saddle Legends. Erico Malatesta with the $5. We are going to need a government document from Australia saying they do not prosecute rape based on cultural differences, otherwise it's called BS. Well, the problem is when it comes to something as frequent as rape being addressed by the police, you can pull out pretty much any narrative you want, you know? Kyle just made a video on Crystal Ball and Cigar. Is that true? Is it? Wait, what is it? Crystal and Cigar called out by Lefty Magazine. Fuck, he's gonna come out and defend Crystal. Wait, maybe? Wait, great article, I read it last week. Cigar's been asking for it. He's too much of a bootlicker. I can't stand that Cigar Guy and Crystal has been irritating of late. I just watched Vosh's video and he said the same thing. Ugh. All right. If this is a turn in the discourse, baby. Oh, yeah. All right, Kyle and I are cool. We love Kyle. All my homies love Kyle. I'm going to assume Kyle's video would agree with me because it would be really weird if he disagreed with me and then all the comments were, you know, against that. Yeah, he don't miss. Except when he do, but he don't miss. Maybe I need to be a lot more responsible. I'm so fucking contentious. This is the problem. All the stuff that I do that makes me really good at debating the alt-right and conservatives also makes it sometimes difficult for me to criticize lefties, you know? Because this extreme condemnation, this point-by-point dismantling, it works with the conservative people, but with the left-leaning people, it is a weakness. It's something I'm trying to work on. I want to go over that video. I want to go over the video that's been made here. In fact, I might do that for my last segment today, depending on whether or not we get anybody who wants to donate. Or, sorry, not donate, debate. Do we have any such people? I don't think we have any people lined up. I will, Fat Cat. He has a Joe Rogan Saint Candle on his shelf, too. Yeah, and a little bobblehead of himself. Geronimo Rotor, thank you so much for the tier 4 sub. You have definitely earned your yellow name, comrade. Yeah, Lils, I disavow as well as a white man. Wait, who did you want to debate? No, I was just saying if there are any Isaac Butterbrains who wanted to have a quick conversation, but if there aren't, that's cool. I'll finish donos, and then I want to talk about that crystal stuff. Because I am all hyped up. Noe Green with the 10 Australian, thank you very, very much. From Australian, thank you for covering this idiot. He's just jealous your beard is better. Hope to talk to you later, but yeah, he's pathetic. He's crying because he is not smart enough to understand politics. No, I think he understands politics exactly to the extent a person like him needs to, unfortunately. Jelly, thank you very much for the tier 1 sub. The Lax, Hooba Booba, indeed. Australia is basically Texas. True, Jonathan Y. Wu. Very, very true. And Indonesia sucks. Yeah, I have noticed that Kalinske has been going after conservatives more often lately. It's been pretty nice. This is proof Australia has an immune system against the chuds. What is this? What the fuck is this video? Better not get copyright strike.
Hey, Merry fucking Christmas. This one's called I Hope Scott's House Burns Down. Well, there's nothing wrong with the holiday, unless you got a job to do. And it takes a lot of nerve to just fuck off when the whole country's counting on you.
I don't know what this I don't know what relevance this is, but true. But true. We stand this king. It is known. True. Pixelpunk, thank you so much for the 420 hammer time with the $2 and Drawler with the tier 1 sub. Really appreciate it. Derek Dimmock with the 279 Canadian. You are a child and a tool. You're not worth the money. Then why did you give me 279 Canadian? Wait, if you believe that, why would you do that? Stephen Peterson, I notice you, comrade. Thank you so much for the $20. And Anarchia with the incredibly kind $50. Can you do Steven Crowder more often? He seems to appeal to the centrist skeptic crowd, and he's very popular with apolitical viewers. Steal his subs. Yeah, I would, except Steven Crowder makes me fucking furious to go over. Because he's awful. But I should. But he is terrible. But I should. Isaac Butterfield, thank you so much for the $10. I accept your apology. Isaac Butterfield is the Australian Keemstar. That's actually a pretty good comparison, Alec Kunkel. I think that's pretty fucking apt now that I think about it. Thank you very much for the $12. I really appreciate it, comrade. Sake Tanuki with the very kind $20. Isaac, but I'm Malding is so mad because he's not clever enough to hold a fundraiser to make the Vosh Koala Chlamydia Ward a reality. True. I don't know what that means, but I'll agree with you sort of reflexively because I am because I am weak and because I just like agreeing with people. You know how it is. Please watch the Kyle vid. Well, we have to watch the original video first. True, Spoingo Boingo. Jero with the $20. This proves Australianism is a terminal illness, and I really hope this dude gets better soon. Pepe hands. We gotta cure him. We gotta find the cure, boys. Malthissimo, Kujak, and Arcelia, thank you so goddamn much for the $5 donations. I really appreciate it. And I'm familiar with the video that you linked, Arcelia, because I popularized it on Twitter. I'm the reason why it has so many views. It's a very, very good video. And gotcha, Malthissimo. Probably not relevant anymore, but I'll keep it in mind. Okay, holy shit, you guys donate too much. We're gonna have to pause on that for a second. Please, no more donations. Please, no more donations for the rest of the stream. That's no, I just. I want it known, by the way, that from now on, there's never a guarantee of your donation being read, ever, under any circumstances, okay? Just so you guys know. At this point, the streams are getting big enough that it's untenable. I've said this long ago, but I'm already doing faster than I used to. I used to read every single donation out loud and then responded to it. Yeah, I'm no longer an indie streamer. Sorry, guys. I'll respond to it if I really like it. Hold on. I think it's time. Do you hear that? Do you hear that blowing in the distance? Vosh, your ego is monstrous. How is that my ego? Do you want me to just like respond to every dono in full? So every stream is just me responding to donos and I don't actually look at any content? What's preferable? What do you want? How does Destiny do the donos? He just has text-to-speech on all the time, but he streams more often. Respond to every chat message. You know, honestly, if you're streaming and you're not responding to every single individual chat message, you have an ego problem. That is true. You have an ego. If you're not, look at this. True, Rubusium. True. That's true. I can't even read. It's true. Everyone, I agree. Slow down. I need to read all of you. Stop. Holy shit, The Hill posts a lot of videos. Where is it? Where is it? It's gonna happen again, the noise. Dun. Where the fuck is it? Should have a lot of views. You know what video I'm talking about? It's their response. Is it?
All right, Chris.
There we go. Now, recently I did a video on Crystal Ball and fuck me, I can never remember this guy's name, Cigar. And I feel like I was a little bit uncharitable in that video. I'm sincere. I'm being sincere about that. Is it Sagar? Sagar? Sauger? Is it Sauger? We'll try Sauger, okay? I do feel I was a little bit uncharitable in that video. And essentially my criticisms were that the show The Rising, between Sagar and Crystal Ball is basically a cheap, thinly veiled effort to direct jaded, burnt-out Bernie Sanders supporters towards being more sympathetic to the far right than they are to the left, because at least the far right gets populism done. And I still stand by that belief. I was just maybe a little bit hyperbolic in expressing it, but toning down the hyperbole might help me make a better point. I was not the only person to make that point, by the way, because pretty much the same day that I did my criticisms, an article was released. Isn't right-wing populism just fascism? From a Mr. Nathan J. Robinson. Now, I took a look over this, and it's a pretty excellent article in my humble opinion. And what it does essentially is it challenges the narrative of rising. The narrative of rising is this. Essentially, there are many axes along which you can divide people politically. You can, left-leaning socially, right-leaning socially, authoritarian, libertarian, but there's also institutionalist and populist. And the argument of rising is that there is a shared interest between people on the right who are populist and people on the left who are populist. Now, my argument is that that's fucking bullshit. As a left-leaning populist, I do not have anything in common with right-leaning populists. Now, I do share some criticisms with right-leaning populists, and I've noticed this because I talk with right-leaning populists all the time. They're fascists. Often, they'll be very critical of corporations. They'll be very critical of state corruption. You know who was also critical of both of those things? You've heard him before. You've heard him, the man, the myth, the legend. That's right, it's Adolf Hitler. See, the point is, criticisms of corporations does not necessarily mean that different groups of people are going to come to the same solutions for those problems. Now, here's a conversation I could conceivably have with a neo-Nazi. I could walk up to that neo-Nazi, and I could say, hey there, don't you think that international corporations have way too much influence when it comes to dictating our national policy? And they would say, yeah, I agree with that. And then I would say, don't you think we should curtail the influence of these international corporations and maybe levy more government, regulations on them, cut back on the extent to which they influence, our financial and immigration policy? And they would go, yeah, we should totally do that. And then I would say, great, we have a lot in common politically. So how about we raise taxes? We push higher degrees of diversity initiatives, we ban lobbying, and we work towards integrating our corporate structure into a broader plurality of, equality-based, anti-classist society. And the fascists would say, whoa, hold on. I just want to gas the Jews. Well, whoa. Government policy to increase egalitarian measures. No. I just want to build the camps, So the issue is, and this is what I see from Tucker Carlson all the fucking time. Have you ever seen a Tucker Carlson bit? Please tell me some of you have, okay? Please tell me, okay? They're all the same. It always gets clipped, and sometimes gullible lefties will see those clips, and they'll think, oh, wow, even he's saying it. Tucker Carlson will go on and talk about how corporations have gone too far and Wall Street is raping our country. And sometimes lefties will look at that and they'll go like, wow, even a Fox News host gets it. Well, no. Tucker Carlson is pretty much a white nationalist, and he's also under the thumb of the billionaire class. He openly admits it. His populism is fake. But that's the thing. The populism of the Third Reich was also pretty fake. It's really difficult to advocate for populism and authoritarianism at the same time. Now, the popular will to do something about the governmental structure, to implement an authoritarian, one-party state, that can exist, but is that really a populist government? I would argue not really. And it's why it's very easy for people like Tucker Carlson, who are bitches to the billionaires to capitalize on that energy. As this person right here in chat says, this is the very reason why the Nazis called themselves National Socialists. The Nazis hated socialists. We died first. The very first, we were right up there in the beginning. The socialists in Germany, we got the bullet first. We were the greatest threat to them, and always had been. First they came for the socialists, you know how it goes. But they called themselves socialists, and they adopted socialist rhetoric when it came to criticizing classism in the Weimar Republic. It just goes to show, as always, fascism is what's the term? Asyncretic? What's the term? When it's incoherent. You can pull fascist arguments from many different points. Fascism is, parasitic perhaps, is idiosyncratic. Thank you. It's idiosyncratic. It can pull inspiration and power from many sources because it doesn't have to be consistent. It doesn't have to be anything except powerful. So I reject the idea that there is any unity to be found between the left and the right when it comes to populism, and that is essentially the argument being made by one Mr. Nathan Robertson in this here wonderful article. I encourage all you to take a look at it. It's not especially long. Look at this super fancy little bookend that they've got right here. Look at that. Don't you want to take a look? Don't you want to take a peep? I know you do. I know you do. Link for the lazy? Fuck you. Just Google the title. Jesus. Now, this article frustrated, I imagine, Crystal Ball, because just a few days afterwards, they made this video, a response to our critics. I've skimmed through this video, but I've not seen its entirety. My goal when watching this is going to be pointing out any bad arguments or any instances where I feel these people are acting in bad faith. That is my goal. So, I'll do my best. I'm going to try to be nice and calm otherwise. Nathan replied to this video. Yes, Nathan has made a video, or made an article responding to this article, as the cycle goes. And so we go.
What's on your radar?
Well, friends, Nathan Robinson of Current Affairs has come for us. A full 3 months after our book came out, he decided to write a review, arguing that Sagar and his views are beyond the pale, and I am complicit in enabling him. Now, honestly,
just to clarify, Sagar, the co-host who works with Crystal Ball, is a fascist. Constantly signal boosts. Tucker Carlson makes all the far-right populist arguments you could want. He really is a reprehensible piece of shit. They're like 100%. That's the thing. Rising is supposed to be this bantying liberal back and forth. Sagar and Crystal Ball are supposed to be like, here's the right wing, here's the left wing, look at them argue. The issue is that by participating in this discourse of equivalency, you're doing the classic liberal mistake of giving equal time and credence to ideas which are not equally worthwhile. Crystal Ball, by being complicit in this, normalizes the idea that far-right populism is just another axis along which lefties can occasionally find camaraderie, and that we should be willing to work with them in certain instances. In essence, it normalizes them. It makes them seem less harmful than they are.
I always wonder how to respond to these things. Do you just ignore it? Do you send out a snippy tweet, which I did, and move on?
Okay.
But I'm sure Nathan's critique is frankly one that is shared by others, so I do think that it is worth addressing. Now, technically, he frames this as a book review, but it obviously also applies to Rising, since the book is primarily a compilation of our 2020 Dem primary commentaries.
This is true.
So here is the crux of the argument that Nathan makes here. He starts by listing all kinds of terrible people who he lumps all into the category of right-wing populism. Bolsonaro, Orban, Trump, and then the obligatory Hitler and Mussolini. Thus, having equated fake populists like Trump and outright genocidal fascists like Hitler with right-wing populism, he has a...
Notice right off the bat, conflating fake populists like Hitler and Trump with actual right-leaning populists. Now, if that isn't some wacky language right there, the immediate implication being that there is some nebulous quality to people like Trump and Hitler and what have you, which is, with regards to their populism, not shared by the people who get simped on by this program, like Tucker Carlson. Oh yeah, Tucker Carlson, the real populist, who has openly admitted that he just does whatever the billionaires tell him to do.
The groundwork all laid to come to this ultimate conclusion that the left should have absolutely nothing to do with anyone who calls themselves a right populist, as of course Sagar does. So here's the conclusion.
That is not what the article says. As the follow-up article's title indicates, the argument is essentially that there is a difference between engaging with them and platforming their ideas. I know this. I'm a YouTuber. I understand this. This is part of my job. It's the reason why I don't debate or go over small reactionary channels like 5,000, 10,000, because even if I'm criticizing them, I might inadvertently get them more attention than they would otherwise get, which would be, bad.
Including paragraph. The age-old labor question is, which side are you on? Carlson, Engetti, Trump, Bolsonaro, they answer that question emphatically and openly. They are not on our side. They would use the might of the state against us. Right-wing populism is simply a lie, and nobody who is on the left should have anything to do with it. First, I think it's important to clarify what the mission of the show is, since Nathan sort of seems to mischaracterize what we're...
I mean, that's true. Trump was a right-wing populist, and the moment he got in power, he turned into, well, it was obvious to anyone who could see the patterns in his behavior, but he was an authoritarian who instantly wielded the power of the state in every conceivable manner to meet his political ends, many of which did not benefit the people who voted for him.
We're doing here in the first place. We're not pretending that we agree on everything and joining hands and singing Kumbaya. If you've been watching this show, especially in recent weeks, you know Sagar and I have deep, profound, and sometimes tense disagreements on the path forward in this country. I bet you've been having some of those ugly disagreements with your own friends and own family. So if the question is, hey, should leftists just wholesale accept right-wing populism as an ideology? Of course the answer is no, but then literally no one is arguing that.
If you watched my previous video on Crystal, she waited and listened as minutes went on while her co-host Sagar went on a basically neo-Nazi conspiracy rant on Joe Rogan about how the Frankfurt School disseminated far-left crazy pro-social justice ideology that indoctrinated like the future CEOs of Goldman Sachs, who then went on to control the country with their mind warped. Like, he literally did a far-right conspiracy theory, and she just sat there and agreed with him. The idea that she pushes back sufficiently on the shit that he says and does is just not true. And even if she did push back on a lot of what he said, the argument here isn't that she doesn't push back. The argument is that the way in which she engages with these ideas normalizes the idea that we should be, in some senses, working with these people.
Instead, the project of the show is pretty simple. There are two major ideologies.
Even if you don't share my agreements, I hope the people watching right now, this stream, can recognize that the way Crystal is approaching this criticism is already pretty dishonest.
Ideologies rising in America right now. What are they? What's fueling them? Where are the intersections and where are the disagreements? Frankly, during the Democratic primary, those intersections were more on display. There was a shared view of media treatment of anti-establishment candidates and of the supporters that were backing them, of the core rot in America, which has fed populist discontent, of the way that corporate interests stand in the way of pro-worker economic policies like Medicare for All. There was also a close alignment in the coronavirus economic response as both parties completely fell on their face, propping up corporations while leaving small businesses and the working class to wither on the vine.
Notice this. This language, Jesus, this language implicitly normalizes this. No, look at the framework. Look at the framework through which this discussion is taking place. Well, actually, if you look back at the 2020 election, it was populism versus anti-populism. What about the social lens through which this was being viewed? Or, moreover, what about the fact that all the right populists wanted to curtail immigration? She isn't mentioning that, which is a little interesting to me. The far-right populists didn't want to challenge the working class. The far-right populists wanted to didn't want to challenge the ruling class. The far-right populists wanted to work with the economic ruling class to change certain demographic conditions in this country? Do you not see the difference between a Bernie Sanders who challenges the idea of capital and a Donald Trump who lauds and worships big business, but says that we need to cut down on immigration, which is being pushed by business? Do you recognize the difference between these two frameworks? In one of them, the challenge to corporate power is sincere and for its own sake, in the aims of equality. In the other, it's being cynically invoked to better the to better an aim of curtailing immigration. Do you see the difference here? How much of Donald Trump's populist rhetoric was based on immigration? How much? Like, seriously, how much of it was immigration based? How much of Donald Trump and his economic rhetoric had to do with challenging big business? Can you find me some? Like, meaningfully challenging big business. It was like nothing. He just rambled about wanting to improve trade deals and curtail immigration. That's it. These are not comparable, but she is insisting they are. Yeah, he pledged to roll back regulations. That's true.
But in recent weeks, the differences have very much been on display. You know, we profoundly disagree on the nature of the protests, on structural racism, on policing, on the use of force by law enforcement, and maybe most of all, on deploying the military to quell protests.
Again, the criticism wasn't whether or not you disagreed, it was whether or not you pushed the idea that you have something in common to fight for.
I won't lie, it has been extremely uncomfortable. It's easy to argue about these things in carefully composed tweets sent into an audience of your ideological brethren.
Imagine carefully composing a tweet.
It's harder to engage with them in real time, face to face, without the benefit of a straw man. I've grappled these past weeks myself with the tenability of exactly what we're attempting to do. After all, there is a reason why no one else is doing it. It's not easy.
No, the reason why is because there's only one slot for The Rising that's being managed by a Republican producer for a company that is owned by a friend of Trump. It's not because you were the only person brave enough. It's because you were the only person willing to be complicit in this particular scheme. I'm not calling you a grifter here, but...
But ultimately, once I calm down, I just fundamentally don't believe the left benefits from isolation, deplatforming, and a refusal to engage.
Nobody was criticizing you for not engaging. We're criticizing you for enabling.
In fact, on this show, I've seen quite the opposite. Let's take as an example probably the most fraught issue over the past few weeks, which has been Trump's threat to invoke the Insurrection Act. Now, I do believe such a deployment of the active duty military against protesters would be a terrifying move towards authoritarianism and, yes, towards fascism. I made that case explicitly on the show, and we debated it here fiercely. I wish that was a view that was outside of mainstream acceptability, beyond the pale, so to speak. But we have to acknowledge that it's not. When the president is advocating for military...
This has literally nothing to do. Again, the specific criticism is the idea that economic populism is a unifying cause amongst which the right and the left can organize and agree on. That is it. That is the criticism. So her repeated deference to, look, I pointed out that fascism is bad and even argued that it's bad, is very irrelevant to the subject at hand. Now, I don't think Crystal Ball is stupid. I know she's familiar with the criticisms that are being made of her. The fact that she keeps deferring to these weak responses suggests to me she's not interested in actually addressing the point.
Deployment in a sizable chunk of the population.
Yeah, that's true. Richard Spencer is for Medicare for all. That is true.
Is in support of it.
For white people.
I believe engagement is more effective than burying your head in the sand. That's different from saying that every
Nobody's arguing for you to bury your head in the sand.
Crank or fringe view deserves a hearing, and it can be hard to know where to draw that line. But in general, when a view is held by powerful leaders and a large portion of the country, I believe direct engagement is a more effective strategy than shunning.
Keep in mind, it's possible to directly engage with bad ideas without having a co-host who is basically an open fascist who gets 50% of the airtime and who you very often defer to with regards to certain ideas and talk about the necessity of collaborating with. It is actually, this may sound unbelievable. My channel is about engaging with ideas that I find odious, but believe it or not, I don't dedicate 50% of my channel time to having on people with those views and then agree with them from time to time. These aren't the criticisms that are being addressed.
We've seen the proof of that here. Because we actually have to deal with each other as human beings and can't just caricature and strawman the other side as uniquely evil, we've both heard from quite a number of viewers about being de-radicalized. Viewers who have now placed their anger at the structures, leaders, and institutions which have screwed over ordinary Americans rather than at their fellow Americans themselves.
Yeah, that's the problem. If all you're deferring to is economic populism, you don't know what their solutions are. Just agreeing that there are institutional problems is not enough. This is the criticism. You can't just say, oh, well, now they know there are problems with the system. Fascists think there are problems with the system. Trump ran on arguing there are problems with the system. Adolf Hitler ran arguing there are problems with the system. The solutions are what we have to agree on, not the problems. What am I supposed to do? Link arms with every neo-Nazi who agrees that transnational corporations need to be curtailed? What do we do when we get at actually fixing that problem? At what point what do we do then? Then do we split? Well, that's step one. You need to agree on how to fix the problem at step 1, not at step 8. There's not a road to get to and then you talk about the solution. Figuring out the solution, or at least the general direction to go in, is the first step once you have identified the problem. We are there. And that's why you spend so much of your time making nebulous arguments about how far-right populists also agree there's something wrong with the system, but spend very little time fundamentally addressing what their propositions would be.
Viewers who've been able to have conversations with family members again about politics. If your political project involves uniting a multiracial working class coalition around social democracy, that is incredibly important and very heartening to hear.
Well, let's hear that again.
Around social democracy, that is uniting a multiracial working class coalition around social democracy, that is incredibly
multiracial working class coalition around social democracy. Why don't you ask your co-host how he feels about social democracy? How about multiracial? See, that's the issue. I agree. Multiracial working class solidarity around social democracy sounds like a great path towards socialism. But far-right populists don't agree. They disagree. They want to suppress racial dissidents because they believe acknowledging the problem is tantamount to challenging white people. And then they don't want social democracy. They just want civic nationalism, where you curtail immigration and stratify the economic inequality.
Important and very heartening to hear. By the way, I also think we should be pretty humble about the virtue of our own side versus the other side. It's not clear to me why Sagar should be beyond the pale, but the corporate and imperialist
Oh, he's here?
Democrats who sold out the country and murdered civilians overseas should be just fine.
Listen to this piece of shit. Oh yeah, people say fascists are bad, but what about corporate Democrats? This is her job. Her job is to take people on the left and draw them into this political neutral or right-leaning populism where they sneer at the Democratic Party harder than they do. What is it the South Park creators said? That the libertarians, they were like, I hate the Republicans, but I really hate the Democrats. Listen, I'm all for criticizing Democrats, but do you know what? If people like Sagar were in charge, they would be worse. The only reason the Democrats have done more bad shit than Sagar is because the Democrats field presidents and Sagar is one dude. But if we were to stratify Sagar's positions into a broader political party and put them in charge of the country, they would be monsters. So this equivalency is, well, at best it's disingenuous, and at worst it is actively playing cover for the far right.
Finally, Nathan readily admits that he agrees with 80% of what Sagar says. Many of the leftists who watch this show probably feel the same way.
Because you talk about problems and ignore the conversations on solutions. That's the issue. That's the issue.
Now, that is partly because we do tend to gravitate towards topics where we have some level of shared interest and agreement, but it's also partly because there are a number of things on which we do in fact agree. So one of the central questions of this show is on those areas of overlap, can the new left and the new right work together?
The new left and the new right. This language. What is the new right? I've heard the term new right before, and it's been used by fascists. That's what they say when they say new right. What does that mean?
Should they? And that is in fact the question that I put to Nathan and others who view the world as he does. If you have a Republican who's willing to work with you on a living wage, but they're an immigration restrictionist, do you work with that person? If you've got a Trumpist who will stand
On the living wage, but only on the living wage. Only that. You can say, I will work with you on the living wage because we agree on the living wage, but you will not then go out and say, see, look at how much we have in common with these people. Wow, look at that. Whoa, wow. Actually, the far right isn't so bad, guys. We have so much in common. We should focus on our agreements. Don't vote for them, but if you can, work with them on narrow wedge issues that you can work together on. That's it.
with you on union rights, but calls coronavirus the Wuhan virus, do you still collaborate? If they will help you fight,
you can work with them on specific issues without broadly announcing that, hey guys, we should work with them, and hey, aren't the corporate Democrats so bad? And actually the real problems in this country are more about economic populism, and we have so much in common. I'm trying to be charitable here. I'm responding to the stuff she's saying. Do you all recognize how dishonest this is? Do you recognize how the way the ball she's playing right now, like this is a dangerous path to take? This isn't just me, right? I'm not trying to hyperbolize all of her statements, but I feel like
for a UBI during a pandemic, but they support using the Insurrection Act, what do you do? Now, my answer is the same as Bernie's. When he worked with Ron Paul on surveillance, or worked with John McCain to support veterans, or worked with Mike Lee to end our backing of the war in Yemen.
But Bernie Sanders didn't then go out and say, actually, we have so much in common with the right, let me co-host a show with them and signal boost their opinions. God damn it, dude.
I think you take yes for an answer when it's given and retort hell no when you don't agree. I think rather than retreating to your ideological corner of imagined moral purity.
See, she's calling Nathan Robinson a woke scold. Nathan Robinson said, hey, maybe don't work with fascists. And she's saying that he's being a woke scold for that. That's what she just said. Retreat to your corner of imagined moral purity.
You engage with the world as it exists in all of its messy ugliness, because
what does this mean?
That's reality.
That's just reality, hun. You just have to signal boost fascists and say they're okay and not as bad as the Democratic Party. This isn't how it works. Look at how slimy she is. Look at her deference. Look at her hands up in the air. Oh, that's just how the world works, babe. This is just how it is. No willingness to take responsibility for her behavior or to defend the specific ways in which she engages in advocacy. So the difference is you can work with them but not endorse them. Am I getting that right? Yes! Work with them on the specific issues. If Rand Paul is anti-surveillance, I can say, I agree with Rand Paul on anti-surveillance. But I will not say, hey, people like Rand Paul actually have a lot in common with us. And don't you actually think the Democratic Party is pretty bad? No. Now let me bring a Rand Paul supporter on my program so we can talk and signal boost their opinions. They wrote a book together, yeah. This is hardly an unwilling relationship.
Now, I'm not claiming I navigate these things perfectly. Of course I don't. I always want to do better and try to live up to the trust that you all have placed in us. But for those who believe that the core project of this show is rotten from the jump, not only do I
Yeah, 100%. You can engage with these ideas and selectively work with opposition members who share some values without doing the stuff you're doing.
Disagree, but I believe that way of thinking does profound damage to making actual progress on a social democratic agenda for the multiracial working class. Because the moment that you caricature everyone who calls themselves populist right as Hitler, no one's going to listen
Look,
to
this is
another word you
literally
have to
a
say,
Sargon
nor should
argument.
they. And Sagar, look, Nathan.
This is literally a Sargon argument. As soon as you just call everyone a Hitler, nobody should listen to you. Which, of course, the article writer, Nathan Robinson, did not do at any point. He was merely listing right-leaning populists. Look at his face. He's so happy to have defense played for him.
Wrote this piece, right? And I was like, what do we do with it?
I mean, she does just sound like a conservative pundit.
Like, do I say? Do I just let it go?
Well,
what do we
free
do?
publicity for him.
But I do. This is a critique we've heard before.
Sure.
And so I think it's worth laying out, like, what is it we're doing here? What is this all about? There's all these like conspiracy theories about how we're some like stalking horse for some other thing. It's really quite simple. Like, you're not saying you love everything I say. I'm not saying I love everything you say. But there are these two new coalitions rising in America. You can either deal with that or you can try to ignore it and isolate yourself increasingly.
See, the way she makes this argument, by working with them, you're acknowledging the existence of far-right populists, and by not working with them, you're ignoring them. She's framing it as the only way to disagree with her is to ignore reality. Everything she says is oozing dishonesty. She is dripping with bad faith. I do believe she's a grifter, but it's very difficult to prove that. I do believe, though, and I can say this with great confidence, that she is lying here. She is smart enough to know what she is doing. This is not some accidental, bad, like poorly phrased defense of her behavior. She is an intelligent and professional, media-trained pundit. She knows exactly what she is doing. And what she is doing right now, and the message that people are supposed to take from this, essentially, is that if you disagree with what Crystal Ball is doing, if you don't want to work together to form a populist union with the far right, then you are infantile, a woke scold, and you are ignoring reality.
Into these ideological corners, and I just think that is fundamentally the wrong approach.
Well, it's foolish. Tucker Carlson's show is the #1 show in America right now, beating Sean Hannity by hundreds of thousands of viewers. And there's a reason for that, which is that obviously he struck a nerve with a huge segment of the American right who are hearing an anti-corporate agenda, probably for the very first time in a very long time.
So what are the solutions? You work together on the solutions. When you listed Bernie Sanders' willingness to work with Republicans before, you worked on the solutions. Bernie Sanders didn't say, oh, well, okay, you agree that healthcare is a problem, Mr. Donald Trump. You agree. Now, you believe that healthcare is too cheap. It needs to be more expensive so more people die. And I believe we need Medicare for all. But we agree that there is a problem, so I have no choice but to form a popular two-person news show with you where we discuss things, and very occasionally I defer to you on points that I really shouldn't be agreeing with. No! They agreed on solutions.
So what does that mean? Does that mean that whenever you're somebody who also shares anti-corporate views, that you shouldn't want to engage with that person, or even with the view itself whenever you have some overlap? And by the way, this is the only place where we have people, a significant right and significant left audience, who never get to hear their views challenged. If you're living in an echo chamber of...
Yeah, like literally, like these are all right-wing arguments. I mean, he is right-wing, so it makes sense from him, but Crystal Ball is agreeing with what he's saying here, is passively enabling it, so...
just leftist, then of course, that's how you create somebody who caricatures, who caricatures me or Tucker or whatever is the same as Hitler, as Mussolini, and it's all...
They didn't say you're the same, they said you're right-leaning populists. You describe yourself as a right-leaning populist, Tucker Carlson describes himself as a right-leaning populist. Adolf Hitler is by definition a right-leaning populist. Nobody disagrees on this. That was the comparison that was being drawn.
Also, as you said, I hear from people on the right, hard right folks all the time who watch this show, who said, you know what? I had to consider that they don't all just want to kill us, and that instead what it really is that the structures and the way that we're all divided is really what my enemy is, really my enemy, and that's the focus that I want to focus on.
That's not enough. Nazis also believe that. Nazis believe this is literally the Jewish question. The Jewish question is that they, the tribe, had infiltrated politics and academia to disseminate cultural elements that encourages people to divide themselves based on race and gender, disseminating pro-black, pro-Hispanic, pro-woman, pro-trans propaganda that encourages people to rise up and express their identities in ways that are detrimental to the white race. That is a systemic issue. A Nazi would agree with what you just said. The solution is the critical junction along which we should form coalitions.
So is that not a benefit to you
No!
and to many people on the left? If they are willing to hear those people out, I think it is.
Yeah.
I think
No, I would rather conservatives live in their hyper-individualist fucking neo-libertarian dipshit land where the most they do is take away welfare than conservatives getting together and thinking, well, wait a second, hold on. What if it's actually the transnational corporations that are the issue? And working together as a populist union to form a fucking ethno-state. I would rather conservatives live in their neoliberal bubble than I would them actually moving towards fascism.
it's the same way on the left. And again, what did we cover here during the coronavirus pandemic?
I can't do this.
If Josh Hawley and Pramila Jayapal both want to cover Americans' payroll during the coronavirus crisis, who cares what letter is next to their name?
Right.
Pramila Jayapal is an immigration extremist, in my view. Do you see me caring whenever she's talking about covering people's payrolls? No, I don't care at all. And I don't think the American working class who could dramatically benefit right now from receiving their wage payroll subsidy by the federal government gives a damn what you think about any of these social issues, because they're struggling and they just want to eat right now.
Then why do Republicans who are starving and don't have health care keep voting for Republicans who keep them starving and without health care? What issues lead people to vote for Republicans when, if you are poor, you have every reason to vote for a Democrat? Why? If it's all about class interest, what other conceivable social issues could lead people to vote against their class interest? Do you think there might be a racial bias? Maybe that might be part of it. Maybe a gender thing? Immigration? I mean, Donald Trump literally won off immigration rhetoric.
Yeah.
That's actually what I care about.
And I think your point is really important about, like, and look, I don't want to oversell what we're doing here, although I do think, I am very proud of this show and really proud of the audience we have and its ideological diversity, which has only become more and more diverse over time. I mean, we literally hear from people from all across the spectrum who watch this show.
I hear this. I've heard this shit from fucking Sargon, dude. Oh, well, you say, I'm not going to try and do the accent, not after the Good Bernie one. You say I'm a far right person, but actually I know there are women and black people who like my stuff. This isn't an argument.
Where else can you go that, like, someone on the left, like myself, could level a criticism at Trump that anyone would even pay attention to? Or that someone on the right, such as yourself, like during the Democratic primary, you were saying, like, Bernie's messing this up because he's not going after Joe Biden.
Wait. On what platform can a left-leaning person criticize Trump and a right-leaning person criticize Bernie? Oh, hold on. Let me think. Hold on. Let me just think through all the media apparatuses. Right? Just let me triangulate the incredibly narrow, slim range of shows in which you could be allowed to, as a left and right person, respectively, criticize Trump and Bernie Sanders, respectively. I'm thinking, oh, right. All of them. What the fuck are you talking about?
He is not behaving like the anti-establishment candidate. He needs to be able to win. And people listen to you because you had treated him fairly and respectfully in other areas. So that is, to me, a really important part of what we're doing here, because if you're just preaching...
I wonder what Sager's criticisms of Bernie Sanders were, considering that Bernie Sanders was, like, literally economic populism distilled into a human being, you know? I wonder what his criticisms were. Probably, was it immigration? Was it trans rights? Like, I actually do wonder. It had to be something like that.
Preaching to the choir, and you're not changing any minds. Like, you're not challenging your own side.
Salger didn't like Bernie's immigration and drug policy. Damn! So, pro working class Salger, the most pro working class presidential candidate in ages, Bernie Sanders, but he didn't like him because of immigrants coming in and drugs. All that economic populism Salger pretends to care about down the drain because there might be brown people in this country and we might treat drugs like a medical issue rather than a criminal issue. Wow. For somebody who thinks class matters so much, he sure was willing to abandon his class interest, his populist class interest, on account of some social issues. He says he lost because he stopped appealing to the white working class people by embracing identity politics. Interesting. So he believes that the correct way to do economic populism is to appeal exclusively to white people, and that attempts to appeal to non-white people, you know, I don't know. I'm an economic populist. Something tells me I wouldn't actually have that much in line with Salger when it comes to solutions. He wants to keep weed illegal? What do I have in common with Salger? I wonder.
You're not changing any minds. What are you really ultimately accomplishing? And that translates into the policy level and your approach there. If you only want to just maintain your moral purity, then, you know, you're not going to get a lot accomplished. But if you're willing...
Nah, fuck it. Fuck you. Moral purity? You mean Salger dropping the best shot this country had at real economic populism because he didn't want brown people in this country, and he thought it was somehow antithetical to his class interest to appeal to the interests of brown working class people? Nah, fuck you. This piece of shit Salger has nothing in common with me. He is, as his daddy Tucker Carlson is, a white nationalist. Somebody who is 100% okay with social reform as long as it defers exclusively, or at least predominantly, to he is literally the son of immigrants. Oh my God, he's not white? Well, he can't possibly be a white nationalist then. In all the time of me running this channel, I have never come across a non-white person who has been a white nationalist. Damn. You're right, I have been blown the fuck out on this one. It is inconceivable that wealthy people who are not white might try to buy into the hegemonic power structure of this country by trying to appeal to the interests of whiteness. There's no such thing as self-hate, folks. Nah. Fuck this guy. Yeah, literally, Jesse Lee Peterson, the white nationalist. Fuck this guy. I have nothing in common with this person. And Crystal Ball, by implying that she has something in common with Salger, indicates to me that I have nothing in common with her either. Fuck both of them. Seriously. And fuck everybody else who's trying to play to this delusion that there are people on the right whose economic populism aligns the interests of the lefts. Fuck them. Bernie Sanders threw it all on the line for economic populism, but because he included brown people in his dream of an equal country, Salger drops him. Because for all his pantomiming about not giving a fuck about social issues and wanting to coalesce around a class identity, he will drop everything he claims to care about as long as it preserves white supremacy. Fuck him, fuck this show, fuck Crystal Ball. And you know what? I'm done with this segment. I don't think I strawmanned her a single fucking time. I don't think I did. I think this was actually a pretty fair reading of what she had to say. And I think she is a terrible person. Because I do not believe she is stupid enough to not know what she is doing. I redid it. Go team. I'm not watching Kyle's vid. We have 30 minutes and you people donated too much. This is your fault. If you donated less, we wouldn't have to spend so much time reading donos. This is you and it's your fault. With every dono I read, remember that you've driven this stake deeper into your own heart with your own generosity. True, Italia reigns. I may or may not have committed a murder, but it would be, of course, slanderous for a person to say so. Keldog with the tier 2 sub. I was sexually assaulted by a cis woman and the police didn't take it seriously, therefore all cis women should be deported. Well, that is true. You thought that was a joke, but that is true. Ruffled Bricks with the tier 3 sub. Still, his groomer joke was funny, wasn't it? Yeah, the groomer joke was pretty funny. I respect is good. If a joke is funny, I will confirm, in my opinion. Hoseman Springbay, thank you so much for the tier 1 subs. I do not want to do Candace Owens right now, but maybe Spow with the $5. The cops could have conceivably said that as an excuse to not look into the allegation. ACAB, however unlikely. I can't fathom. You realize if a cop just plainly said they wouldn't investigate or follow up on a rape because of cultural differences, they would be opening themselves up to a media fucking firestorm. Yeah, I just don't believe it. I mean, if that happened, it's terrible, but she was still unnecessarily politicizing that. It doesn't matter. True cooler shopkeeper. So noted, Davinsky. Vosh videos shouldn't be political. True, Inky. Newberific with the $5. Are you proud of this 8 values score? I used to be a Baptist dummy. Nice. Wait, what? How does it only show the economic axis? Well, I mean, you're heading the right direction. Yeah, fuck yeah. Chaos of the $3. Out of all the Nazis I've seen, Mr. Medicare is the only one I've seen at least to not fight other Nazis, only other right-wingers. Mr. Medicare keeps it together pretty well with the infighting for the most part, I think. Igua123 with the $5. She's being purposely vague with the race of her rapist. She's dog-whistling 2 separate things. Melbourne has a Sudanese gang issue, not Muslim. Interesting. I didn't know that. Racism works so differently in other countries. Probably AT5D2D Derek. Geronimo Roeder with the incredibly generous $100. As a German, I can tell, who wouldn't let a brown person get away with rape just because it's politically correct. Plus, Geronimo strikes again. True. It's just a German pastime. You know how it is. Dude, my lizard's popping off down there. Look at her. Can you see her moving? She's wiggling. She barely moves. So. Basil Pesto with a tier 3 sub. Sorry, baby's not coming back today, but tomorrow, probably. Thank you very much. Modeserve with the incredibly kind $20. Australianism is a disease, never forget. True! And Jarrett Finney with the $20. Dumb question, my dude. Do you believe any forms of speech should be criminalized outside what's covered in the First Amendment? No, I'm a very big free speech kind of guy. I think that we should very severely socially discourage some forms of speech, but when it comes to the government, I don't think hate speech should be illegal. Unless it's like, incredibly obviously like directing harm against a person, you know? Like threats to violence or like implied threats to violence, like stuff like that I think can be legally, yeah. The incitement of violence, I think. But that's already a law. So noted, Monday J. Thank you for the tier 1 sub. Likewise, Wokel98, I really appreciate that, comrade. And Jared, thank you very much. Yeah, I heard Nick Videos doesn't support Trump anymore. I got to take a look at that. Oh, the Nick Videos debate is in just 4 days. I got to set a time with him. Jesus. How the time goes. Good, Sergio. Everyone vote Biden just to spite Door. True, Aurora. Thank you. Sneaker Stomper with $20. Sorry for the Rickroll, Vosh. Hope there's no hard feelings. You got unbanned, right? Here. There you go. Be well. What happened to the JLP talk? I already did it. What do you mean? What about kill all trans people? What about kill all trans people? I probably shouldn't. Is spouting the JQ and white replacement stuff not an implicit call for violence? It can be under certain circumstances, yeah, for sure. Daniel Lannister and Hostelboy, thank you very much for the $5. Glad you're here now, comrade. Squish that cat, Vosh?
Squish that cat. All you need to know is to squish that cat. And you just gently squish them. That's not comfortable for the cat, or that safe, to be honest with you. You can just throw a towel on the cat again, squish her with a towel. What you can do is scoop her up, a little football carry, just like that. Butt in your hand, and just squish her tight to your body. Just squish them really tight to your body. You don't have to worry about hurting a cat, you know, just squishing them against your bodies. And there we go. We just made friends with this wonderful little cat. Look at that face. Look at that face. Squishing is your best friend when you're dealing with a cat. You basically just lean forward, squish them nice and tight. And again, I'm just squishing them into myself. We always squish that cat.
True. No, Oracle, it is not at all bad for you to do that. We're going to go over the 100 degrees above the Arctic Circle. Sake Tanuki, thank you so much for the 20 bucks. No hardcore doomering on the death of our planet today, I'm afraid. Respond to King Critical's video on you, comrade. They're a male turf. I saw this. Is this relevant? Is this really worth going over? It's got 1,000 views. Like, honestly. I haven't actually read it. I have not read it. It's 47 minutes. Single word.
And will never ever stop being deceptive in her expression of these beliefs. I think much more likely JK either still has not gone full gender critical, which would make sense as it took me a while, or else...
Wait, they DM'd me trying to debate you? Oh, Hein, I would love to debate this. I would love to debate. Dude, male turfs are so funny because they're all like political reply guys. Yes. The male sex, the XY chromosome is very dangerous. We need to be kept apart. We need to be separate. You're right. I'm sorry, Queen. Now or wait, are they here now? No. We gotta finish donations. I didn't realize they were that. Open and available. Zekthan with the 10 bucks. Thank you. I might go over that. You can put email me the video. I'll take a look at it. Roxy Cherry, thank you so goddamn much for the tier 3 sub. If you want to post fan art for me to see it, post in the art channel in the Discord and tag me in it. Thank you. I really appreciate that. Irish Fox, thank you so much for the 5 bucks. I might try Code Vein, anime Dark Souls at some point. I do have a degenerate audience. Thomas Dupunti with the incredibly kind 50 bucks. These are not Soros bucks, I promise, winky face. All right, I'll take it at face value, but if I find out they're Soros books, I'm going to be really, really mad. I'd love to see you talk to Hannah and Jake. I think I talked to Hannah and Jake a while back, Jacob, before I was banned off Twitch. But yeah, they're nice. Sake with the 20 bucks. Don't fool yourself. Kyle disagrees with you, but he also knows he can never defeat you because he can't form solid arguments. Beta. Well, hey, you know, the fun for me, I just like doing my YouTube thing, okay? Whether or not he debates me, I'm doing pretty okay. My channel doesn't really rely on debates to
Toss a coin to your
grow like that.
Plenty.
I'm a fan of street epistemology, MRX messages. It's just a fun little method. Yeah, Miles Gallon. Hopefully the Nick videos thing is fun. Brian with AY with the 5 bucks. Doesn't the no ethical consumption argument not work with meat because there's no possible alternate world where meat can be produced without killing animals? No. The conceivable morality of an action in the future has no bearing on whether or not its outcomes are moral today. As a utilitarian, I can't say like, that would be saying like, dude, stop punching me, that sucks. Dude, why are you doing that? That sucks. And then I say, well, there is a hypothetical world where your head is over here, so actually the fist is harmlessly careening through the air. So in reality, it's not as unethical. Now, we look at the outcomes in this society. In a world, of course, where things are different, then the arguments would change, but the potentiality doesn't really affect stuff now. Daniel Webster with the incredibly generous 5,000 rubles. Thank you so fucking much. Here are some more royalties for my dictionary sales. Thank you so much, Mr. Dictionary Man. I really, really appreciate that. That is so kind of you. My goodness. Jesus. God, you people. True, One Shook Boy, thanks for the 5 bucks. And likewise with the Elysian subs, I do read the donos. Mecha Bouncy Bunny, the 5 bucks, I do like donos. Sometimes, depends on how fast I can read them. Jacob, I might go through Kyle Klinsky's video at some point in the future. UK Marxism DLC failed with the £2. Why is right-wing populism fake? My argument is that right-wing populism is almost invariably in the service of abetting authoritarianism, and it usually comes at the exclusion of the populism of certain groups of people. For example, is it really populism if it's only white men and it's being made to suppress the will of non-white non-men? I mean, it's a type of populism. It's right-wing populism, but you're not really representing the will of the population then, because you're deliberately excluding elements of the population from your advocacy. In my humble opinion. It's fake in the sense that I don't care for its legitimacy. I mean, it is populism, but it's a facade, you know? It's a fake. It's gay. It's very gay. Wait, are you kidding me? Look at this! Oh my god! This was retweeted by Sauger. It's not that we're anti-elite, we just want a better elite. Well said. There, that's right-wing populism. They just want to get their guy in power. Are you kidding me? Seriously, I can't parody this. Also something a Nazi would say, by the way. They love the elite. They just want to make sure it's their guys. This is great. I gotta retweet this so I remember. Caps lock. There we go. I probably typoed that. If you want the video of Cigar saying it, oh my god. We're near the end of the stream, so I don't care. I'll let it go. You people are terrible, though. Anyway. Crimson Shin with a very, very kind $20. Thank you, comrade. Oh, a baby. Baby. Looks like Artemy. Baby. Wait, is that the same cat? That has to be a different cat. Or is this edited? Can cats look like this? Clearly edited. Okay. I don't know. I'm not saying it's not a cute cat. I'm just saying that cat looks like the guy who played Helsing. No, not Helsing. What was the Ron Perlman? Ron Perlman, yeah. That cat looks like Ron fucking Perlman. Very good. Christopher Globus, thank you so much for the $20. I do enjoy doing my work. And Tits Kits, as fun as it would be to just read donos, it would be a pretty transparently very beneficial element on my part. Barashute with a very kind $20. Oh. Vosh, you act like you know everything, but you are clueless with no common sense. You use the wrong your. I really don't get incel brainlets who watch you and throw their money in donos. I don't know. I mean, hey, that's life, baby. Just me succeeding in the free marketplace of ideas. You know how it is, baby. What are you gonna do? Miles, I'll check the Kyle video out soon. Thank you for the $2. And Nicholas Norton, thank you very much for the $1. Imperial General with the $10. Kyle in his video thinks Crystal fights back enough. Hitler wasn't a real populist, and that left and right populists can work together in their shared goals. Okay, I take it all back. Kyle's bad. Jesus Christ. I just want to fix the fucking left. It's so bad. The Black Sun with the $10. Would you live react to a fascist cartoon it would be based? Maybe, but not this stream. Jakey Fakey with the $5. Hey Vosh, what exactly is populism? Populism is an anti-establishment political bent. It's the belief that there are problems in our system and problems in our institutions that just abiding by the common electoral process can't really, meaningfully address. That you have to through the popular will, challenge the system and tear down or reestablish institutions. Right-wing and left-wing populism differ in that left-wing populism abolishes or at least attempts to abolish hierarchy, whereas right-wing populism attempts to either secure more or a different type of hierarchy. Thank you, the Queen of North. Really appreciate that. And Kyle M. with a very kind $25. Thank you. Hey, dude, just wanted to say thanks. Your videos have helped me remember values, ideals I had tucked away when I became an adult. Keep it up, comrade. Idealism need not die with adulthood, comrades. We can do it. We're all going to do it together. We're all going to make it.
They're not impressive, so maybe there's something wrong with the system we've created.
Well, you say this all the time. It's not that we're anti
space between the East and West.
elite. We just want a better elite.
Exactly.
Right? It's not that we're anti-elite. We just want a better elite.
Exactly.
It's not that we're anti-elite. We just want a better elite. It's not that we're anti-elite. We just want a better elite.
That is right populism. That is the difference between left populism and right populism, okay? There we go. I have distilled its essence into a single sentence. There you go. God, I can't believe these people. Oh, Crystal Ball is 100% going to leave the left soon. 100%. No chance. No fucking chance that's not what's going to happen. %. R.M. Brown, no, I don't think we should appeal to social conservatism to win office. I think we should be able to win in better ways. Gronknack, I have not seen any Friendly Jordy's videos. Zakari, thank you so much. I really appreciate your $10, and I'm glad you like the research document. I am adding to it pretty much every day at this point, so we'll see how that goes. Please debate King Critical now. He's ready and waiting, and I want to see you destroy him. Wait, you mean literally at this moment? Why can't he, like, email and set up a time? I stream ends in 18 minutes, and it's probably going to end early because I'm out of donations now. Also, debate on what? Weren't we going to talk about, like, scientific anti-realism? That was a year ago. Guy's a lawyer to go over. This Legal?
Sort of in.
Yeah, Legal. Legal is a great channel, by the way. Legal consistently gives takes that are pro our side because he's just correct. That's the nice thing. That's the fantastic thing. You know how they say reality is a left-leaning bias? It really is true. Or maybe you could say the left has a bias towards reality. Just listening to things calmly explained correctly is in our favor. Also, he's pretty handsome. He looks a little dorky in this, but...
in the cultural conduct and make a
There we go. I just caught him like mid-mouth open. You know how it is. There we go. Look at that. Look at that smoldering professional attorney. Look at that. I have always said this. People hate on lawyers. I don't hate on lawyers. I don't believe all lawyers are slimy. You know, a fuck ton of lawyers are public defendants that are desperately, like every second of their life, trying to process the thousands of cases they're given to help out people who need it, you know? I think that lawyers, we will always have lawyers. Even, hey, you know what? Anyone who believes I'm about to tell not the truth is lying. Even in an anarchist society, we will have lawyers. You have to have lawyers. You can't not have lawyers. You need to have people who can arbitrate and defend people who are accused of engaging in misbehavior. In any society, there must be lawyers. Because the alternative is what? You either have no laws, which means that you have no people who need to explain the law, which would be dumb. I mean, we should probably have a law against murder, right? That's probably fine in our anarchist society. And if we have a law against murder, well, what is murder? What if you kill a person in self-defense? Is that justified? Well, now we have some ambiguity. Somebody's going to need to argue and make a case for a given position. Laws and anarchy, all right? Anarchism doesn't mean anarchy. Anarchism is a political philosophy dedicated to minimizing hierarchy as much as possible. But I submit to you the case that law and order, when exercised and adjudicated properly, enhance equality and decrease hierarchy. That is my argument to you. Yes, as Alan Moore said, anarchy does not mean without laws, only without rulers. Didn't Marx wrongly write that lawyers were part of the petit bourgeois? No, didn't Marx, he said they were part of the labor aristocracy, not the petit bourgeois. Lawyers don't necessarily own anything, but they are in a privileged worker class. But just because you're part of the labor aristocracy doesn't mean that you're, like, you can't exist in a good society. Oh my god.
To your streamer, oh, viewers aplenty.
Parachute with the incredibly generous $50. Thank you so much, comrade. Imagine donating more just to keep you on stream, lol at your followers wasting money. By the way, people who correct grammar are literally called Nazis, so checkmate. That is true, and I have been destroyed. Thank you so fucking much for the $50, comrade. I really appreciate that. I think that's a good time to wind down, I say, as people continue to donate. Professor Studs. Sorry that I didn't exist back when you graduated high school. Hey, listen, sociology majors are in your heart, okay? Not in your mind. I believe in you. Sake with the $20. Thank you. Notice how Kyle is releasing content following your releases. He can't form arguments on his own because he doesn't possess the Hooba Booba. It's true. Kyle Kalinske has not and never will taken the Hooba Booba pill. It's very, very, very true. Matt Volby, so I've heard. I'll probably go over it at some point in the future. And Brian with an AY with the $5, but a top-down approach to veganism is made infinitely harder if people don't change their meat-based diets because you literally can't have meat without factory farms. Yeah, so be vegan. I just don't think it is immoral to not be vegan. I don't think there's a moral imperative to be vegan. In the same way that I don't think there's a moral imperative to not consume commodities that were made through child labor. But go ahead and be vegan, for sure. It's great to be vegan. It's a good thing to be vegan. You all should be vegans. It is better than not being a vegan. Morally, it is. And it's not as hard as it seems. Vegan meat is getting better and better by the day, though I will admit it's still pretty expensive compared to regular meat. The real loss is the cheese and cream. That is the real loss. And eggs. Not that I like eggs, but you need them for baking, but then you can do bakeless. Yeah, whatever. I'm just saying, it's great to go ahead and be vegan. That's fantastic. I just don't think we have a moral obligation to boycott. Okay. What a wonderful stream. Guys, can we close out on a happy note? We got 6.6 thousand concurrent viewers on this regular ass politics stream. That is the most I have ever gotten on a regular stream, bar none. That is 400 more maximum concurrence than I got during my second highest stream, which was the last politics stream back on Friday. We are on an upward trend. I am excited. I am enthusiastic. I am rapturous. Thank you so much. I love you all, and I do hope you have a wonderful day. Remember, folks, take care of yourself, okay? Remember, the greatest praxis is waking up each morning happy, because that is what makes the Nazis the saddest of all. Be well. And each other. Take care of each other too, but also yourself.